So yeah, welcome to the stream. Interesting. I don't want to say interesting. Exciting. Exciting for the ears and the eyes stream tonight. We have Umineko. Episode 8 begin. A mad dash there last night to finish episode 7 to prep us so that we could start in on episode 8 tonight on a Saturday. It just feels right. More right. I was about to say righter. It feels righter to start an episode on a Saturday stream. It just feels better. We also have much to discuss when related to things of Umineko here before we 100% begin the episode. So, what I want to discuss is it has always been as we approach. I'm trying to see how I want to start the sentence. Words everywhere. As we approach here, the final episode of the 8-episode arc of Umineko, When the Seagulls Cry. I will say, it has, and the goal originally was always finish the 8 episodes before the end of the year. I really set myself out to do that. I can't believe we're actually going to accomplish it. I can't believe I've actually stuck with it. Yada, yada, yada. It had always been my intention to want to, especially with something like this, and it leads itself seemingly into being able and wanting to do something like this being subject material. Once we finished the 8 episodes, is to see if, gauge interest, both viewer-wise and also me-wise. And once we finish 8 episodes, to be doing, I have no other words for it other than supplemental readings, viewings, playings of things after finishing the main 8 episodes. Nothing incredibly nothing too difficult. I don't want to sit here, and it's not like we'd spend millions of streams, I don't know, reading just fan theories. That's not what I needed. But, early on, I had learned that there was a fighting game, an Umineko official fighting game, that apparently had some kind of story stuff to it that maybe would be potentially worth checking out, despite me not being necessarily a huge fighting game guy. Stuff like that. But mostly, like I said, good, maybe potentially. Again, I don't want to devolve it so much, but I don't want to say explanation videos because that sounds very reductive, but things of that. So, and why I bring it up, and also hello, glad you could join. Basically, what led to this, me wanting to talk about it now, is I'm, the parts, I think, parts have been going up on YouTube, and then sometime today, I believe, someone wrote a comment on one of the streams, one of the VODs on YouTube. And they're I'm shortening the words, but it was you should check out Confessions of the Golden Witch. And they went on to explain a little bit about it. It's it's this thing that explains a lot, yada, yada, yada. And of course, that piqued my interest. I'm okay, what is this? So I start doing a lot of independent research. And I'm doing a lot of independent research, and I'm typing. And I come to find out that it is essentially a manga-exclusive chapter that really delves into, I don't think it's super long, but really delves into the, how do I put it? That really explains the who done it, the why done it, and the how done it, maybe potentially, of the setup to what then happened, those fateful days in October. And so I was reading it. I wasn't obviously reading it, but I was reading it to potentially, is this something that would be viable on the channel? And then you start digging deeper into the rabbit hole, and you're apparently it's an official thing, official writing, but a lot of people think that it takes the joy out of Umineko as a series. So amongst, again, keep this at the top of your head, potential once we finish episode 8 here sometime in December, Potentially me checking out the Umineko fighting game, if it's actually worth it. Potentially any other things we read or watch as supplemental content for Umineko. Supplemental material, additional reading or watching material. I want to gauge interest in potentially also reading Confessions of a Golden Witch, which again, from what I understand, and the thing was, in my research, found out someone fan-made the PS3-like port, because again, it's a manga-only thing, but people made it to look just like a fan-made thing to make it look just like how we've been doing this console port kind of Umineko reading thing. So it would look the same. It would just be an additional thing. We could do it. It would be after we read it. I'm genuinely curious of people that end up watching or, I don't know, potentially enjoyed listening me read all these. I'm curious what... Not like if people said, oh, it really upset me if you read that. Like, that I might not be actually interested in hearing, because that matters less to me. What actually matters would be like, oh, I've heard about it and I've read it. It's actually really good. Or this is why I think it's not good to read after you finish reading Umineko. If you have read it or if you haven't, or if you're like, oh, I haven't read that, but I would be interested in seeing that potentially. Like, those are the kind of potential comments I'm interested in. Just because, like I said, not less of like, oh, is this going to guide if I actually do it or not necessarily, but more of like, I'm curious of getting opinions on what it actually is and how it's kind of like looked at, if that all makes sense. Also, I need to figure out if I'm going to do the fighting game thing. That's another thing. Because then I have to determine, am I actually going to buy the fighting game? Or am I going to try to just find whatever I need to find, the important stuff, as a video somehow? That's a whole nother can I'll have to figure out, but it's fine. So again, the main thing I was bringing up is, like I said, gauge interest. It wouldn't be until after we finish this. It would be its own thing. I would bake it in at worst, which is funny to say, but at worst, its own separate stream, probably still towards the end of this year, once we have finished episode 8, checking out the Confessions of the Golden Witch. I'd be curious what people think of that. But I digress. Welcome to the stream, episode 8. Very excited to start this. It's gonna sound bad, but I'm very excited to see the end of this, of Umineko. Not as if I want it to end like, oh, I need to get the fucking thing done with, but like, I'm curious how it wraps itself up. Episode 8, Twilight of the Golden Witch. Good morning. To think that this is goodbye brings me great sadness as well. Ugh. Same text, same. I prepared a farewell party for this night. There will be a game tournament as well, so I ask that you participate with vigor. Like pepper, the difficulty comes in tiny yet spicy grains. Like pepper, the difficulty comes in tiny yet spicy grains. Why not participate yourself now at the very end? Question mark. Yeah, okay. Okay, Umineko, sure. Here we go. Episode 8. One final ride. That was weird. Already getting spooked? Did the door get locked? What was that? That's different. That's not normally happening. Well, I'm already being spooked and we're 2 seconds in. Two silhouettes could be seen in the chapel. A big brother and a little sister. I assume that's Battler and Angie. Baby Angie? The big brother who would never return from that day 12 years in the past. And the little sister who waited all alone 12 years in the future. However, Big Brother knew everything, understood everything, and the little sister knew nothing, understood nothing. So, no matter how much time passed, the little sister remained as the girl she had been 12 years before. She remained a 6-year-old girl forever. Her sobs into his chest finally subsided. She quietly waited for his next words. After patting her head gently, the big brother fished around inside his shirt pocket. Just in the mic here. Big brother fished around. Okay, yeah. Then he took that out. That. Are you listening, Angie? Take good care of this. Baby Angie voice. What is it? A key? Battler took a large key attached to a necklace out of his pocket, then held it out to Angie. It was large enough to cover his entire palm, and little Angie probably wouldn't even be able to wrap her hand or all the way around it. There we go. The key glittered gold and had a beautiful, intricate design. Its weight alone made it clear that this key was something very important. Battler put the necklace around Angie's neck. This precious key is yours alone. Is yours and yours alone. Isn't that like a Olmec? Olmec. The key is yours and yours alone. It's a terrible Olmec impression, but... let's look at Baby Angie. Baby Angie kind of has a large head. Is that just me? Is the head looking kind of big? I mean... Drag her. Okay, what's it for? The time to use it will come soon. When it does, you have to decide for yourself. Understood. Of course, she didn't have a clue what Battler was saying, but she did realize that he was telling her to take good care of this key. Gosh, she has such big eyes, too. If there's something a little unsettling, I don't mean to be mean to Angie. She's gotten enough shit in the game and from me sometimes, too, but like... Okay, so, Angie nodded, at least in response to that part. In her hand, the key had felt heavy. However, now that it was around her neck, it felt as light as an ordinary necklace. How strange. Okay, let's go. Where to? She had been sure that her brother was about to sit down. After all, just a second ago, he said he'd tell her what happened on Rokenjimon that day. She'd expected him to tell her here. Or here. On that day? On that island? Just what is it that happened? I thought you were going to tell me about that, Oni-chan. Absolutely. And you'll be given the chance to listen. However, to you, it may not feel as though you're merely listening to a story. He's gonna make her live it, isn't he? He's like, you're not just gonna listen to a story, you're gonna participate. What does that mean? What you really want isn't to know what happened on that island on that day. Dude, I was gonna say about this song, like, if it's like other heavy quotes voiced music in this Umineko series, I believe the words aren't real words, so it's just supposed to give like an impression that like there's lyrics, I think, but I can't make out actual words or anything. It's kind of it's chill, but it's also kind of it's like I think the word I wanted to use earlier was like a little unsettling, but not necessarily. I might be talking out of my ass though. There's always that possibility. What you really want isn't to know what happened on that island on the day. So, he does understand after all. What happened on that island that day? What happened on that island that day? Trying to answer that question was all I was capable of, so I wished for nothing more. But if I could, I'd want to go there. To that island. On that day. To Rokenjima on the day I couldn't go. To the Ishinomiya family mansion. To mom and dad. To all the cousins, all the relatives. And everyone else. I want to go back to that island on that day. So, I remained the way I was on that day. My heart and soul stuck as a 6-year-old's forever. I want to go home. I know. Mom, Dad, Oni-chan, everyone. I want to go home, to where everyone is. That's why I've decided to invite you there. Huh? Your Oni-chan is the game master now. Only those who know everything about the game board can open it up and invite pieces in. So, I'll invite you to come to the game board. You'll take me to Rokenjima on that day? That's right.
1986年の六軒島へ招待しよう。
I'll invite you to the Rokenjima of 1986. Will I be able to see everyone?
もちろん。
Of course. Even though my memory is vague and I can't remember anyone's face clearly,
すぐに思い出すさ。
you'll remember soon enough.
そしてエンジェにとっては12年ぶりの再会でも。
And it'll be a reunion after 12 years for you?
俺たちにとってはしばらくぶりでしかないんだ。
It'll only have been a short gap for us. So honestly, so he's like, all right, one last fried. Let's do this game one more time for Angie. Is that basically what it's like? We're getting the band back together.
みんな歓迎する。
Everyone will welcome you.
12年の遠い未来からようやく帰ってきたエンジェを
When you
みんな歓迎してくれる。
finally return from the distant future, everyone will welcome you. Oh shit, here we go again. Yep. Will I be able to stay there forever? This way, I can be with everyone forever. This is the goal I'm supposed to reach.
エンジェ、よくお聞き。
Angie, listen to me carefully. But Paddler spoke in an admonishing tone, as though warning me that this was a dream that wouldn't be granted.
六軒島の親族会議は一泊で終わる。
The Rokenjima family conference usually ends after a single night.
あの日は台風だったから船の都合で2泊だったけれどね。
Because of the typhoon that day, the boat couldn't come, and it lasted 2 nights.
それが過ぎたら私は島から帰らなくてはならないの？
So when the typhoon passes, I'll have to leave the island again?
少し違う。
Not exactly.
それを決めるのもエンジェなんだ。
That decision is yours as well, Angie.
エンジェがそれを決める。
You will decide that yourself. I understand, of course. I don't exist on that island on that day. It's a miracle just to be invited there like this. Just the 2 days before the typhoon passes. Just getting those 2 days to myself is already the sort of miracle that will never come again. If I'm greedy enough to ask for more, that faint miracle might vanish. Even though I thought this, my young heart, which was still 6 years old, wasn't satisfied with such a short-lived miracle.
帰りたくない。
I don't want to leave.
わかるよ。
I know.
いつまでもみんなと一緒にいる。
I'll be with everyone forever.
家族で一緒にいる。
I'll stay with my family.
お兄ちゃんがもう帰らなくちゃって言っても、私は六軒島に残る。
Even if Oni-chan says I have to head back, I'll stay on Rokenjima.
残るのが正しいとか、帰るのが正しいとか、
You can stay or you can leave, but it's not as though one of those is the right choice.
そういうのじゃないんだよ。エンジェ。
That's not how it works, Angie.
それでも、それを私が選ぶの？
Even so, you'll let me choose?
そうだよ。
Yes,
そのための鍵がそれなんだよ。
that's what the key is for. Balor touched the glittering key that hung from Angie's neck.
私の答えはもう決まってるよ。
I've already made my decision.
今は選ばなくていい。
You don't have to decide now.
選ぶべき時はすぐに訪れるから。
The time to choose will come soon.
その時のエンジェの素直な心でその鍵をどう使うか。
When it does, you must use your honest heart to choose how you'll use that key.
お兄ちゃんの言うことなんか何も聞かなくてもいい。
You don't need to listen to anything your Oni-chan tells you.
エンジェのわがままなように答えを決めても構わない。
You're free to choose your answer in any way you like.
でも
However,
もしもエンジェがいい子でお兄ちゃんを信用できるなら
if you're a good kid, and if you can trust your Oni-chan,
信用できるなら？
if I can,
お兄ちゃんの言うことは全て信じなさい。
then believe everything Oni-chan says.
すべて信じる。
I'll believe all of it.
それがエンジェにとって一番いい選択になるから。
That will lead to the best choice for you. Battler, this is truly... Battler, take the wheel.
お兄ちゃんの言葉
Guide me, Battler.
そして全てを信じなさい。
Listen to your Oni-chan's words and believe everything.
できるかい？
Don't question it, just listen. Can you do that?
わかんない。
I don't know.
それでもいい。
That's good enough.
信じたいものだけを信じればいい。
Believe whatever you want to.
それもエンジが決めていいんだよ。
That's also a choice you can make.
お兄ちゃんを信じないと
If I don't believe Oni-chan,
この夢は覚めてしまうの？
will I wake up from this dream?
そんなことはない。
That won't happen,
だから安心していいよ。
so don't worry. For some reason, Angie was suspicious of her brother and scared of him. Her wish was to remain on that island on that day, together with her family, forever. She was afraid that once she got her 2 miraculous days, her brother might tell her to be satisfied with that and return to 12 years in the future all alone.
さっきも言ったと思う。
I already told you,
残るのが正しいとか、
there's no
帰
right
るのが
to
正しいとか、
there's no right decision.
そういうのはないんだよ。
You can go, or you can stay.
それをエンジェが決める。
That's for you to decide.
そしてそれは今すぐ決めなくていい。
I don't know, Angie. I would probably listen to him. I'm gonna say staying probably not ideal. You don't need to make your decision right now.
そのどちらかの選択を誰も強要しない？
And no one will force me to make either choice?
もちろん。
Of course.
お兄ちゃんは私に未来へ帰れなんて。
Yes, how many times does it have to tell you, Angie? For God's sake. And Oni-chan won't tell me to go back to the future?
お兄ちゃんはエンジに選んでほしいある選択がある。
There is a choice your Oni-chan wants you to make.
それをエンジが自発的に選んでくれることを望んでる。
Even so, Oni-chan wants to respect your decision, let you reach it of your own accord.
だから望んではいるが、
Regardless
エ
of
ンジ
what
の選
happens.
択は尊重したい。
Keep cutting him off. Regardless what happens to be. It's one of those nights.
私もさっき言った。
And I just told you.
私の答えはもう決まっているよ。
I've already made my choice.
俺もさっき言った。
And I just told you.
今はそれを選択する時じゃない。
Now isn't the time to choose.
それはいつ？
When will it be time?
その鍵がいずれ教えてくれるよ。
The key will tell you. The large gold key hung from Angie's neck. Her small hand held it tightly. At that moment, she noticed a book lying on the chapel's altar. The book had a lock on it and was sealed, so that it could not be read without a key. Angie looked between the key hanging at her chest and the book on the altar.
あの本はこの鍵で開くの？
Will this key unlock the book?
あの本はダメだ。
Don't touch that book! His sudden, forceful response made Angie flinch. Battler, realizing he had scared Angie, softened his expression.
さあ、行こう。
Don't you dare touch that book! Come on, let's go.
1986年10月4日にエンジを招待するよ。
I'm inviting you to come back to October 4th, 1986. Okay. Battler held out his hand, and Angie gripped it tightly. Then, they started walking. Oh my god. Oh, oh, she's so tiny. A brilliant light lay beyond the chapel's door. That blinding light peeked in through the cracks around the door. The brother and sister began to walk through to the other side. Welcome back, Angie.
そしてこれで最後なんだ。
This will be the last time.
このゲーム版をエンジェのために最後にもう一度だけ開く。
I'm opening this game board one last time. For you. Regrettably. Yeah, let's go. The final one. Enjoy it. It's never happening again. Oh, Umineko. Get on that boat.
落ちる落ちる落ちるうわ
Fall, fall, fall! Once again, Captain Kawabata's ferry boat, Terokujima, cut across the sea in perfect form. Yes. The tale of October 4th, 1986, always begins with Battler's screams. As it should. But this time, one thing was different. There was another yell alongside Battler's. Battler was screaming. The other was laughing?
落ちる落ちる落ちる
Fall, fall, fall!
あえ
No!
面白い面白い面白い
Fun, fun, fun! Giggle, 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 giggle. Man, we've got another young little girl joining the fray. Yeah, of course. Yes, of course. Battler's face looks funny. Laugh at him. Laugh at, point and laugh. Alongside the big brother, who is grasping at the handrail and screaming in a way no one that age should scream, was a little sister, also grasping the handrail and jumping about like it was a ride at an amusement park. One achievement every time Battler gets on a boat. George and the others just couldn't hold in their laughter at the difference.
6年を経てもバトラ君は本当に賑やかだね
I guess Battler-kun hasn't changed much these past 6 years. He's as energetic as ever.
エンジェもマリアも今年はひときわ賑やかだぜ
Plus, Angie and Maria look more cheery than usual this year.
いとこ5人が全員揃うのってひょっとしてこれが初めて
Could this be the first time we've had all 5 cousins all together?
あれそうかな
Oh, is it?
なるほどね
I get it.
今年はこれまでになく最高に賑やかってわけだ
That explains why it's noisier this year than any year before.
ジョージの兄貴
George Honecker.
これ早すぎねえか
This is way too fast, right?
頼むよ船の人に言ってスピードを下げてもらってくれ
I'm begging you. Ask the driver to slow down before it's too late. Yeah, ha 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 ha
こんなので
ha.
早すぎなんてバトラ情けないバトラ情けない
This is too fast. Battler's so pathetic.
エンジェもっと早いのがいい
I want to go faster.
もっともっと
Faster, faster. Laugh, 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 laugh.
これ以上早くなったらお兄ちゃん船から落ちちゃうぞ
Any faster than this and I'll fall right off the boat.
いいのか落ちて
Will that make you happy?
落ちる
I'm gonna fall.
多数決の結果バトラ君の速度を下げるという提案は
Going by popular vote, I'd have to say that Battler-kun's proposal is
却下みてえだぜ
rejected. Ah ha 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 ha.
ほらほらお兄ちゃん落ちちゃうよ落ちちゃうよ
Look out, Oni-chan. You're gonna fall.
怖がりのバトラはくすぐりの刑だ
Honestly, I'm with Battler at this point. If I was actually afraid of like water or boats or fast-moving boats on water or something like that, and I'm like actually afraid and I'm gripping the rails as if I'm saving my life, and then the rest of my family is pointing and laughing at me, I'm holding that grudge forever. Yeah, I'm not forgetting that shit at all. Everyone is tasting my wrath at that point. Scaredy Cat Battler needs to be punished. Tickle time! Hee.
よせやめろマリア
Wait, stop, Maria!
エンジェもやめろ
You too, Angie.
ラメ
No.
よかった。
Thank goodness.
エンジェの体調心配だったんだけど。
I just had like a visceral, like my body just did like a little shiver when the two of them popped up on screen right now. Thank goodness. I was worried about Angie's health, but
一人だけ留守番じゃ気の毒だしね。
it'd be too sad to leave her behind at home.
無理にでも連れてきてよかったぜ。
I'm glad we decided to bring her anyway.
直前に大きく体調を崩したって聞いてたけれど。
Wasn't she very sick shortly before you left?
それが今朝になったらケロリよ。
She was all better this morning.
子供って本当にすごいわ。
Kids can be so incredible sometimes.
緊張が体調に出るタイプなんやろな。
She's the kind of person whose health takes a hit when she's stressed.
そういうのはいざ当日を迎えるとケロッと治ることもあるもんや。
It's not that strange for people like that to get all better when the big day finally comes.
いとこ5人ではしゃぐのが楽しくて仕方ないんでしょうね。
She must really have been looking forward to playing with all 5 of the cousins together.
子供たちが楽しそうにしているのを見ているとこっちまで元気になってきますね。
Just watching them play together makes you feel charged with energy, doesn't it? The adults smiled as they watched the children play around. Angie, who had gotten very sick, and who everyone had thought would be absent, made a miraculous recovery. Thanks in part to her strong desire to join in, she had come along to the family conference with the others. And so, for the first time ever, all 5 cousins were gathered together. October 4th, 1986, became a day like no other. The kids dashed up the path leading from the harbor to the rose garden. They were probably so charged up that even walking was too boring for them. See that?
一番
First place! Battler was the first one to reach the rose garden, which was the goal. Apparently, he was trying to make up for the dishonor he had suffered on the boat by proving his superiority on land. A short while later, Angie and Maria reached him in a dead heat. I'm second. I'm faster than Angie.
違うよ。マリアお姉ちゃんはズルしたもん。
No, you aren't. Marioni-chan cheated. I believe it. Cheater.
エンジェが2番だもん。
I'm second. The 3-year gap between Angie and Maria was large, especially since both of them were growing kids. It was only natural that Maria was faster, but Angie seemed to be complaining about a shoulder bump at the start line. Marioni-chan cheated, so she gets last place. Teacher always says you get last place if you cheat. Protested Angie.
ほらほら、喧嘩するなって。
Come on, no need to fight.
それにしても2人とも本当に速いな。
Still, both of you really are fast.
こんなに走ったのはずいぶん久しぶりだよ。
It's been a long time since I've run that much.
ああ、風が気持ちいいね。
Ah, breeze feels so nice.
ジョージの兄貴は運動不足じゃねえの？
Are you out of shape, George Aniki?
毎朝の遅刻レースに鍛えられてりゃ誰だって足腰は強くなるもんだぜ。
You know, anyone who has to run the race to make it before the bell every day gets strong legs by default.
つまりその足の速さは朝寝坊の証ってわけだね。
In other words, being a fast runner is proof that you sleep in a lot.
お兄ちゃんはお寝坊なの。
Oni-chan always sleeps in.
今朝も起きなかったからエンジェが起こしたんだよ。
He didn't wake up today either, so I had to wake him up. Right?
ストンピングからフライングエルボー。
A stomp followed by a flying elbow.
最後のトップロープからのボディープレスは強烈だったな。
And that body flex from the top rope at the end. There was just about finished me.
起きるどころか永遠に起きれなくなりそうな目覚めだぜ。
That sounds more likely to put you in an eternal sleep.
面白そ
Sounds fun.
マリアもやる、マリアもやる。
I want to do it too.
お兄ちゃん、きっと明日も寝坊するよ。
I'll bet Oni-chan sleeps in tomorrow too.
今度はマリアお姉ちゃんと一緒に起こすよ。
We'll wake him up together this time, okay? Giggle, giggle.
今夜は
Doink, doink.
夜更かしは大概にした方が良さそうだね。
I'd recommend against staying up too late tonight. Finally, the adults came into sight. The cousins waved at them, urging them to hurry up. Angie and Maria were so excited that they could hardly wait. Just by having all 5 cousins together, just by adding Angie into the group, look at how energetic this day has become. She's the perfect solution.
失礼いたします。
Excuse me.
親族の皆様方がご到着いたしました。
Also, slight different reaction. So earlier I was like, oh, you know, obviously seeing Kyrie and Rudolph there, I got like a shudder. A chilling reaction. Different reaction. But now that it's like all confirmed, basically, Shannon and who she is and her involvement and the different Shannons and Beatrices and all of that good stuff. Now you just see Shannon on the screen, just Shannon in Shannon form, and you're like, it's just a lot. There's just a lot to like. It just feels like there's a lot to dissect and unpack. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, excuse me. The family members have arrived.
無事に着いたかね。
So they made it.
では私は親父殿に伝えてくるとしよう。
I must let father know.
皆さんは今はゲストハウスに？
Are they all in the guest house now?
はい。
Yes.
荷物を置かれましたら、こちらへ挨拶に来られるとのことです。
They'll meet you here after they have set down their luggage.
わかりました。
Understood.
カノンは皆さんのご案内を。
Cannon, please show them the way.
シャノンは紅茶の準備を急ぐように。
Shannon, quickly get some tea ready.
かしこまりました。奥様。
As you wish, madam.
お父さん、クラウスです。
Father, it's me, Kraus.
そろそろご準備をお願いします。
It's about time for you to get ready. After Kraus knocked on the door, it opened from the inside.
おや、南條先生。
Oh, Dr. Nanjo.
親父殿は。
How is father doing?
ご安心を。
No need to worry.
もう着替えておりますぞ。
He's changing as we speak.
ただ少し緊張されているようですな。
I think he's just a little nervous.
誰が緊張しているというのか。
Who are you calling nervous?
お気に入りの片翼のネクタイピンが見つからぬ。
No, I cannot find my favorite one-winged necktie pin.
だからいつも夏希に言っているのだ。
How many times must I tell Natsui?
勝手に物の場所を動かすなと。
My possessions must never be moved without my approval. Apparently, Kinzo had been running around for some time, just because he couldn't decide on a tie and a tie pin. Kinzo, who felt that the dignity of the family head must always be preserved, usually made a big deal about the head's attire being equally dignified.
なんとかなりそうですかの？
Will he make it in time?
もうしばらく時間をいただけますかな。
Do you think you could give us a little longer?
準備ができたら下へ参りますので。
We'll come down as soon as he's ready.
わかりました。
Understood.
南條先生、よろしくお願いします。
I'm counting on you, Dr. Nacho.
お父さん、
Father,
そのネクタイピンでもよく似合っていますよ。
I must say, that necktie pin looks splendid on you.
そのネクタイピンとは何か。そのとは。
This necktie pin, you say? This pin?
年に一度しかない親族会議の日であるぞ。
The family conference is held but once a year.
妥協など許せんぞ。あのネクタイピンでなくてはダメだ。
There shall be no compromise. I must have that necktie pin.
どこだどこだどこだ。
Where is it? Where?
金蔵さん。
Excellent.
その引き出しはさっき調べたでしょうが。
Kinzo-san, you already looked in that drawer 5 seconds ago.
それに素晴らしいネクタイピンをいくつもお持ちのはずだ。
Besides, you own several splendid necktie pins.
今日というお日柄に合わせてふさわしいものをセレクトするのもおしゃれの見せ所ですぞ。
Is it not stylish to select something fitting to match fate's whims?
そうで
Yeah,
ある
exactly.
か
Hmm? You think so?
片翼のわしじゃなくてもよいのか
So, don't need to use the one-winged eagle pin? Only followed by bewitched by an Italian woman, Kinzo. Yeah, but what about that one time that Kinzo turned into, like, a dragon? Remember that was a thing? He just straight up turned into a dragon. I was randomly thinking about that moment a while back. He just turned into a dragon. As Kraus watched Nanjo calm Kinzo down, he started finding it hard to believe that this doctor wasn't his own mother. Well, it was always like this. He always makes a fuss when no one's looking, but when that time comes, he makes his decision with pride. After asking Nanjo to come down by lunch at the latest, Kraus snuck out of the study. What do you think? Splendid aroma, is it not? And a unique one as well.
パンプキンティーなんて初めて飲みました。
I've never had pumpkin tea before.
ほんのり甘くて美味しいですね。
That little touch of sweetness makes it delicious. As one step in preparing the tea for the guests, Goda let Shannon try a bit first. Until then, Shannon had thought it would be outrageous for a servant such as herself to drink the same thing as a family and their guests. However, according to Goda, that kind of thinking was a mistake.
お客様にお出しするものを味も知らずに出すことはできません。
One must not serve something if one does not know the taste beforehand.
例えば、訪れたレストランで
For example, when you visit a restaurant and a dish you never heard of catches your eyes.
初めて知る料理に興味を持ったとき、ウ
What
ェ
are
イタ
you
ーを呼び止めたならこう聞くでしょう。
What are you likely to ask the waiter?
この料理はどんな味ですかと。
How does this dish taste, correct?
そうですね。
I see.
そこで食べたことがないから知りませんでは、なんだかおかしな話ですものね。
So, the waiter says that he's never eaten it before. That would seem a bit odd.
そういうことです。
Precisely.
給仕に携わるものならば、お客様にお出しするお茶やお料理の味については熟知していて当然なのです。
As a matter of course, anyone serving their customers must be deeply acquainted with the taste of the tea and food they serve.
それに自分で飲んで美味しかったお茶ならお出しする時にも自然と嬉しくなってしまうものですしね。
And you'll always feel happier serving a sort of tea that you've tried and enjoyed for yourself.
その通りですね。
That's right.
こんな美味しいお茶なら、ぜひ皆さんにも飲んでもらいたいって気持ちになります。
After tasting tea this delicious, I can't wait to let everyone else try it.
だからこそ
And because of that,
私たち使用人はあらゆるお料理の味に熟知しなければならないのです。
we servants must be very familiar with the taste of all sorts of foods.
だから私がひょいとつまみ食いをしてしまったとしても、それも使用人の務め。
That's why sampling food whenever I can is part of my job description.
役得であり、仕事であるわけです。
It's a perk as well as our job.
わかりましたか？
Do you understand?
はい。
Yes.
準備ご苦労。
Everything is proceeding smoothly.
お茶の方は問題ないか？
Are there any problems with the tea?
ああ、源氏さんもぜひ飲んでみてください。
Oh, Genji-san, you must try some as well.
ハロウィンらしく今日はかぼちゃの紅茶ですよ。
Seeing as it's almost Halloween, I decided to make some pumpkin tea.
後でもらおう。
Later, perhaps.
もうじき親族の方々がお屋敷にいらっしゃられる。
The family will be arriving at the mansion very soon.
お子様方もご一緒しそうな雰囲気だ。
It looks as though the children will be joining in.
はい、
Yes, sir.
カップの用意も万全です。
The cups are ready to go as well. At that moment, the kitchen's extension line started to ring. Genji, who was standing right beside it, swiftly picked up the receiver before the second ring. Shannon and the others always thought Genji looked like a samurai when he did this.
わかった。
Understood.
粗相のないようにご案内を。
Take good care when guiding them. After giving that short response, Genji set the receiver down.
カノンからだ。
That was canon.
今から親族方がこちらにおいでになる。
The relatives will be here shortly.
お子様方もご一緒とのことだ。
The children are with them.
シャノンとクマサワはお出迎えを。
Shannon, Kumasawa, go to serve them.
ゴーダは紅茶の準備を急ぐように。
Goda, hurry up with that tea.
はい。
Yes, sir. A family conference. It was the largest event of the year for the servants. They were all excited and determined to make it through together once again this year.
失礼いたします。
Kraus-sama,
親族の皆様をお連れしました。
I have led the relatives here.
おお、よく来たね。
Oh, there you are.
道中問題はなかったかね。
Were there any troubles on your trip here?
兄さん、儲けてるんでしょ？
Nissan, you're doing pretty good, pretty well for yourself lately, haven't you?
そろそろ自家用ジェットを買いなさいよ。
Isn't it about time you bought a private jet?
今回の機内も後ろ宮家しかおらんかったからな。
After all, no one was in the plane but the family as usual.
エンジェちゃん、
I'm glad.
来られてよかったですね。
Angie-chan made it.
体調が悪いから欠席するかもしれないと聞いて心配していたのですよ。
I was so worried when I heard she was too sick to come.
ご心配をおかけしました。
Thanks for your concern.
今朝になったら急に元気になりまして。
She suddenly got all better this morning.
お腹痛いのどっか行っちゃった。
My tummy ache went away.
お腹をぐるぐる時計回りにさするの。
I rubbed my tummy clockwise. Is that the key to fix it? Did you just rub it?
お腹痛いのが治る魔法のおまじないなの。
That's a magical ritual to heal tummy aches.
こらマリア、少し静かにしなさい。
Now, Maria, quiet down.
おお、そっちはバトラ君かね。
I guess my main question, I'm really curious about what episode 8 is going to contain. I'm curious if this is supposed to be a very happy wrap-up episode. If this is an episode game mastered by Battler, and it's an episode he is showing to Angie and having her be a part in, is it truly going to have any upsetting things in it? Or is it supposed to just be a painted rosy picture of what happened, a variation of the cat box, of an explanation for what happened these days? That's what I'll be curious about. I know it's a weird thing to just be saying in the middle of while we've been starting to read it, but is Battler going to show Angie murder to her child eyes? Exactly. Does he make it truly upsetting? Is that why he's like, hey, maybe you want to make that choice once you see what happens? Or does he sugarcoat it? And I mean that in almost the most literal sense. Not literal, obviously not literal sense. But in the sense that of like, oh, do you censor the bad things, but also make them clear to her that they're bad things? Like, I'm just curious how that's handled. I'm curious. What you got percolating, Battler? That's basically what I want to ask. How are you doing this? How are you handling this? Anyway, Oh, is that Balor-kun?
大きくなった。
You've grown so big.
6年ぶりですね。
Also, I guess I mean, I don't know how this actually works, but like, if this is a game and it's not being challenged by another person, so this is literally it all seems as if this is a game that's being unchallenged and it's just Battler being able to do whatever he wants. Case in point, he brings Angie into it. Does he have to make it make sense and everything? Like, you know, are there any rules against anything he could potentially make happen? Or can he just, like, basically rewrite history, and it's basically the equivalent of just telling Angie, hey, I know you've been wanting to know what happened on this day a long time ago. It was all rainbow and butterflies. Rainbows and butterflies, you know? It's been 6 years, hasn't it?
本当に立派になりました。
You've grown splendidly.
いやは
Well,
おかげさまで背ばっか伸びまして。
I do keep getting bigger, at least.
肝っ玉の方は相変わらずみてえだけどな。
Can't really say that about his guts, though.
むしろ相変わらずバトラ君でいてくれて僕は安心したけどね。
I'm just happy to learn that he's still the same old Balor-kun. Wahahahaha. Battler may be bigger, but he's still Battler.
こいつは飛行機でも船でも落ちるのなんのと相変わらず賑やかでな。
This brat's always been terrified of falling off planes and boats and stuff.
アスムさんの血でしょ。
That must be Asuma-san's blood, right?
多分あれだぜ。
When he was a kid and we went to theme parks, we always went on some of the wilder rides.
こいつが小さい頃、遊園地で激しめなのばっか乗せて回ったからだ。
That's probably what did it.
身長制限で乗れないんじゃないの？
Don't they have height restrictions for those?
いやいや。
No, I don't mean that kind.
ティーカップとか足こぎボートとかいろいろあるだろ。
You know those paddle boats and teacup rides, right?
そういうのをちょいと激しめに付き合わせたのがまずかったみたいだ。
Looks like we took those a bit too rough back in the day.
ルドルフ兄さんは昔からそういうのやりすぎるたちだから。
You've always gone a bit overboard on rides like that, Rudolph Nissan.
それはそれは。
I see.
かわいそうに。
Poor Balor-kun.
バトラ君には同情するよ。
Poor Balor-kun indeed.
でも安心したわ。
Still, it's comforting in a way.
乗り物嫌いでこそバトラ君って感じだものね。
Even after all this time, nothing says Balor-kun like a fear of riding things.
お兄ちゃんは乗り物が嫌いなんじゃないの。
Oni-chan isn't scared of riding
落
things.
ちるから嫌いなの。
He's just scared of falling off them.
落ちる落ちる。
Fall, fall.
こら、走り回らないの。
Hey, stop running around.
マリア、お姉ちゃんでしょ。
Maria, you're one of the big cousins now, right?
お手本を見せなさい。
Set a good example.
失礼します。
Pardon me.
お茶の配膳に参りました。
I've brought some tea for everyone. A pleasant aroma followed Shannon as she came into the room, pushing a serving cart. Even Angie and Maria, who had been running around in circles, sat down obediently when they heard that drinks were here.
ところで、親父はどうしてんだ？
By the way, what's Dad doing?
もうじき降りてくるだろう。
He should be down here soon.
ネクタイ一本選ぶのに朝から大騒ぎだよ。
He's been rushing about all morning trying to choose a tie.
相変わらず当主として威厳ある服装がどうのこうの？
You mean all that about choosing an attire suitable for the family head?
お父さんって昔からネクタイにはやたらうるさいわよね。
Father's always been picky about ties, hasn't he?
こだわりがあられるのでしょう。
It's just something he has a passion for.
おしゃれなのは良いことです。
Staying stylish is a good thing.
その割に結局いつも同じネクタイで現れるのね。
And yet, he always shows up wearing the same tie in the end. Family members burst out laughing. The sweet scent of Goda's specially made pumpkin tea spread throughout the parlor, and the calm atmosphere grew more cheery and excited.
ママ見て、ママ見て。
Look, Mama, look, Mama!
パンプキンのクッキーだよ。ハ
It's a pumpkin cookie for Halloween.
あら、本当ね。
Oh, that's right.
この甘い匂いはかぼちゃなのかしら。
This sweet scent is kabocha. Kabocha? Isn't it?
はい。
Kabocha. That's right.
今日のお紅茶は珍しいパンプキンのフレーバーなんですよ。
Today, we have some special pumpkin flavored tea for you to try.
とっても美味しいですから、最初はぜひストレートで召し上がってみてください。
It really is delicious, so I suggest you try some without sugar first.
姉さん、袖
Nisa,
気をつけて。
watch your sleeve.
へえ、
Wow!
かぼちゃの紅茶なんてあるんだ。
So, kabocha tea actually does exist.
ゴーダさんはよくこんなのを見つけてくるよな。
Goda-san really did his homework.
美味しいね。
Delicious.
なかなかいいよ。
This is excellent.
かぼちゃの自然な甘みが感じられるね。
You can taste the kabocha's natural sweetness.
かぼちゃを紅茶にね。
Kabocha tea, huh?
でもよ、かぼちゃと言ったら天ぷらが一番だよな。
Still, kabocha always tastes best in tempura.
かぼちゃじゃないの、パンプキンなの。
It's pumpkin, not kabocha.
パンプキンはかぼちゃじゃないの。
Yeah, pumpkin is different from kabocha. Honestly, too many little girls. We got with the maximum little girl load capacity has been reached.
パンプキンなの。
This is pumpkin. Maria seemed to think the English word was more fitting for Halloween, but it looked like Angie thought kabocha and pumpkins were entirely different things. Everyone laughed, but Angie, not knowing why she was being laughed at, cocked her head to one side discontently. Just when it looked like she was about to get in a bad mood. Sure, and start grumbling, Maria started teaching her a cookie game, and Angie immediately became engrossed with that distraction. Then, the sound of approaching footsteps drifted in from the hallway. When the relatives realized whose footsteps those must be, they straightened up. Those quick footsteps stopped for a moment just outside the parlor door, as though someone was taking a deep breath and setting up a dramatic pause. Then, the door exploded open as Kinzo yelled out loud, with Genji and Nanjo standing behind him. God, he's so extra here.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween! And trick or treat! So am I meant to believe that, like, Battler has made Kinzo just, like, incredibly extra? It's just, like... What am I supposed to do with this knowledge? Trick or treat! The cousin shouted it back. The adults returned the greeting too, looking embarrassed and refusing to meet his gaze. Angie alone stood there with her mouth open, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Welcome, my grandchildren! If you don't give me a treat, I shall trick you!
ほら、マリア。
Go ahead, Maria.
おじいさま、ハッピーハロウィーン。
Happy Halloween, grandfather.
今年はすごいの。驚いて、驚いて。
I got you a really incredible one this year. You'll be surprised. Maria picked up a present that had been hidden behind a sofa. Come to think of it, all of the relatives were now holding similar packages.
ほら、エンジェも。
Come on, Angie, you too.
これをおじいさまに渡して。
Give this to grandfather. Kyrie handed Angie a neatly wrapped present.
Oh, Maria!
Oh, Maria, you're always so wonderful. Grandpa's so happy. As Kinzo took Maria's present, a smile broke out across his face and he rubbed his cheek up against it.
親方様、
Master?
威厳をお忘れでございます。
Your dignity.
そうであったな。
Oh, that's right.
嬉しいぞ、我が孫マリアよ。
You have pleased your grandfather greatly, my granddaughter.
お菓子をくれたので、今年はいたずらは勘弁してやろうぞ。
In return for the treat you have given me, I promise not to trick you at all this coming year.
今度はおじいさまの番。
Now it's your turn, grandfather.
お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
If you don't give me a treat, I'll prank you.
心得ておるぞ。
Indeed, I'm well aware.
源氏。
Genji.
こちらを。
Here. Genji fished through something that looked like Santa Claus's sack and pulled out a present addressed to Maria, handing it over to Kinzo.
おれ、マリア。
Here you go, Maria.
おじいちゃんからのプレゼントであるぞ。
Here's a present from me.
これはの、かわいいぞ。
I'm warning you, it's so cute.
マリアにあげるのが惜しいわい。
Such a waste to give it up to you.
親方様、威厳。
Master, dignity.
No.
Oh.
これは後ろ宮家当主からのマリアへのプレゼントである。
This is a present from the Ishimiya family head to Maria.
これはそのかわいい。
It is a cute.
後ろ宮家の貫禄にふさわしい品であるぞ。
An item worthy of the Ishimiya family's dignity and grace.
心して受け取るがよい。
Take good care of it.
ありがとう、おじいさま。
Thank you, grandfather.
大好き。
I love you.
チュチュチ
Kiss, kiss, kiss. No! Why did it make a sound as if, like, did we get... Oh my god, we didn't even check all this shit. Oh, we didn't even... Oh man, we have... Oh boy, we have things to... Okay, wait a sec. Let's take just a quick second here. Even though it had already been announced that he has just a few months to live, he is brimming with energy. Though he amassed a vast fortune in the past, he never made any announcement regarding the inheritance which worries his children. He's strongly influenced by the West and the rival fan of the occult, studies packed with... Okay. Rudolph and Kyrie's daughter, Battler's younger sister from a different mother. She's so tiny. So, oh, she's got the little thing on her little stocking sock thing. She gets sick easily, but she managed to get better just in time to attend this year's family conference. She's so happy this year, surrounded by her beloved family and relatives. Trying to see if there's other things to see here really quick. Okay. I don't think there's anything else. Okay. He made a noise.
Oh, Mario! 我が可愛い孫よ!
Oh, Maria, my adorable granddaughter! Kiss, kiss! By this point, even Genji had to give up on Kinzo's dignity. Still, the dignity of the family head had lasted a full 10 seconds longer than usual this year.
おじいさま、ハッピーハロウィン。
You can tell that this is horseshit so hard. I mean, yeah. I mean, even if you want to get into the most basic of levels here, the fact that Kinzo is even here in the first place and coming down to see the family also. But yes, also because people are being nice to Maria. And everything else we've seen, everyone else just tolerates Maria at best. Happy Halloween, grandfather.
これは僕からです。
This is from me.
ハッピーハロウィン。これは私から。
Happy Halloween. This one's mine.
気に入ってくれるといいんだけど。
I hope you like it.
おお、ジョージにジェシカ。
Oh, George and Jessica.
今年もありがとう。
I must thank you once again this year.
私は嬉しいぞ。
I'm so happy. With tears streaming down his face, Kinzo hugged George and Jessica.
おお、そしてバトラーか。
Oh, and Battler too.
よく戻ってきたな、後ろ宮家に。
I'm so glad you've returned to the family.
寂しかったぞ、この6年間。
It's been lonely without you these 6 years.
いや、まあその。
Well, anyway.
ハッピーハロウィン。
Happy Halloween.
気に入ってくれるかわからねえけど。
Not sure if you'll like it though.
良いのだ、良いのだ、バトラーよ。
Don't worry, Battler.
言いたいこともあろう、聞きたいこともあろう。
I know you have things you want to say, things you want to ask.
だが今はそれはなしだ。
But now is not the time.
じいさん。
Grandfather.
よく後ろ宮家に戻ってきてくれたな。
I am glad that you have returned to the Yushomiya family.
私は嬉しいぞ。
It makes me feel happy. Slowly, Kinzo moved forward and hugged Battler. Battler drew back at first, but then he understood Kinzo's feelings and hugged him back. Angie watched the scene play out, shocked. Was Yushomiya Kinzo always this kind of person? Angie?
次はお前の番だぞ。
You're up.
ほら、それをおじい様に渡して。
Go on, give it to grandfather.
あ、うん。
Okay. Angie didn't have a clue what was going on. She took the present her mother had given her and walked forward timidly. Kinzo's face, which had looked so cheery a second ago, suddenly became stern as soon as Angie stepped forward. No, didn't become stern. That expression was the one always worn by Kinzo inside Angie's mind. This was Ishiromiya Kinzo. He was fickle, short-tempered, and always wore a stern expression on his face. This was the most terrifying person in the Ishiromiya family. It felt as though the world was suddenly quiet, and only did it when I stepped forward. Why? Why only for me? But isn't this how it should be? Isn't this the Ishiromiya Kinzo I expect? The Ishiromiya Kinzo I understand? I was like a puppet carrying a tea tray. I walked forward, bewildered, with the present held out in front of me, and stopped in front of Kinzo. Without letting his expression change in the slightest, Kinzo slowly reached out and touched the present. What? Okay. I too would be shrieking at this. Whatever just happened. Also, Jesus, I just killed my voice. In an instant, Angie was caught in a firm embrace, present and all. Kinzo's white beard rubbed against her cheek. Grandpa is so happy. I'm so glad to be blessed with such lovely grandchildren. I feel so happy. So happy the tears just won't stop. Master, your nose is running. That and your dignity.
Genji, すまぬ。
Oh, Genji, forgive me. Sniffle. As the old man blew his nose, he didn't look like he could possibly be anyone other than a kindly grandpa overcome with tears at his grandchildren's gifts.
ありがとう、エンジ。
Thank you, Angie.
聞けば、体調が悪いのに無理をしてきてくれたそうだな。
I heard that you chose to come even though you weren't feeling well at all.
おじいちゃんは本当に嬉しいぞ。
I'm so glad.
さあ、お前にはこれだ。
Here, this is for you. He pressed a large gift box to Angie's chest. She finally realized that all of Kinzo's presents were wrapped differently and in boxes of different sizes.
エンジには何だろうな。
I wonder what he got you, Angie.
毎年じいさまが誰に何を送るか自分で考えてるそうだぜ。
I hear that grandfather always personally chooses what he'll give each one of us.
これだけの大人数をよくやるもんだよな。
Pretty incredible with all these people.
毎年
He picks them himself
自分で
every year. He does. What every year? He picks what himself? This bizarre ceremony happens every year? The cousins were all happily chattering about what their Halloween presents would be this year. Maria came up to Angie and suggested that they compare the weights of their presents, but for some reason Angie just stared blankly. After that, the adults also handed their presents to Kinzo one by one, receiving a gift in return, along with considerate words about their health and questions about how they've been doing recently. Even baby Angie is like, what the fuck is happening? Then, after watching to see that all exchanges had been completed, Goda appeared and announced that lunch was ready.
そうか、準備ができたか。
Is it all ready?
さあ、
Is it ready, I mean?
一同諸君。
Come, ladies and gentlemen.
ゴーダ自慢のランチに舌鼓を打とうではないか。
Let us enjoy the splendid lunch that Goda has prepared for us.
さあさあ、食堂へ移動しよう。
Quickly, to the dining hall.
どうぞ皆様。
This way, everyone.
ご案内いたします。
Follow me.
プレゼントは私どもでゲストハウスのお部屋へお運びいたします。
We will carry your presents to the rooms in the guest house.
どうぞ置いたままでお食事に向かわれてください。
Please, feel free to leave them here as you leave for lunch. The relatives stood up, leaving their presents where they lay on tables and sofas, and followed Kinzo out of the parlor. Only Angie remained standing there, stunned, as she clutched the present Kinzo had given her. Goda's lunches had never betrayed expectations before. When Hideyoshi said that these meals were the only reason anyone ever came to these family conferences, everyone laughed and nodded. The delicious food caused conversations to erupt all over the room. You've gotten so big. How have you been lately? Pretty good. It was a fun meal with everyone asking each other about the latest and laughing together. The Ishimiya family sat at meals in a specific ranked seating order. So the adult siblings, the cousins, and the spouses all sat in groups. So, conversation sprung up naturally. Angie had withdrawn slightly from the cousins' chat and was looking around the dining hall. What are Kinzo and the adult siblings doing? Their conversation seemed to be peaceful and fun. Most of the time, the siblings were mothers or fathers of their own households. However, when they gathered together by themselves in front of Kinzo, that burden was lifted from their shoulders, and they became young and bright as though they'd gone back to being kids again. Rudolph, who was usually an easygoing father who nonetheless had a sense of dignity, became so bright and cheery in this group that it almost looked like there was another battler. Even Kinzo looked peaceful and relaxed. He didn't say a word about money or the inheritance. In fact, he didn't even insult his children or call them incompetent. He just looked like a happy old man, genuinely pleased to leave or have his whole family together for the only time this year. The group of spouses was just as harmonious. Oh, and Nanjo was there too. The mothers kept bringing up problems with education and household matters, as well as family health issues. Hideyoshi and Nanjo happily joined in on their conversation. And what about the cousins? There's no way such an enjoyable meal with such a fun group of friends could fail to be raucous. Maria was in her element, showing off her knowledge of Halloween trivia. George and Jessica would nod in understanding. Badler would say something stupid, and Maria would laugh at him. If I wanted, I could easily join in on that conversation. And if the dessert caught my attention, I could easily slip out of the conversation too. It was happiness, both fun and natural. It felt like waking up from a daydream to be greeted by the rays of the springtime sun. According to the weather report, we can expect a big storm sometime tonight. It's supposed to be a typhoon. Looks like we'll be stuck here for more than one night again. I do not mind in the least. You may stay here as long as you wish. If it would mean seeing my adorable grandchildren's faces more, I would pray for rain every day. Give us a break. We do have work to get back to. Why don't you leave the island, Father? That way, you could see your grandchildren whenever you wanted. True. Living on a remote island may have a sense of majesty, but haven't you had your fill of it? It's too noisy in the city. I much prefer a quiet island with no one on it but my family. I like it here. But on Rokkenjima, if something happens, it would take some time for a doctor to arrive. I agree. At your age, I think you should at least consider moving to Nijima. I know. Imagine having to live with your kooky father on his last legs. I am old now. That makes me sound heartless. I shouldn't say it like that. I want to live in peace, surrounded only by my family. Me, the notorious person who moved states away from his family. Imagine living with your family. Oh, jeez. And I'm satisfied. I have this island to make that dream of mine come true. Father. It seems I've gotten you all down. Ladies and gentlemen, this ends Goda's lunch. Grandchildren, it will probably be raining constantly starting tomorrow. Now is your last chance to see clear skies. Why not enjoy the flowers and then take a walk on the beach? It did say beach, right? Okay. For some reason, I beach made sense, but in my head, like I read the word and it looked like bench. Go take a walk on the bench. That sounds good. Okay, everyone. Let's go. I want to see the flowers and walk on the beach. We can collect shells and collect glass too. Collect glass? It sounds a bit dangerous.
ガラスのかけらが波に現れて丸くなって綺麗な石になって流れ着いてるんだよ。
Fragments of glass get washed by the waves and become round, beautiful gems which drift to shore.
忘れたかよバトラ
Did you forget, Battler?
ー。昔一緒に拾ったろ。
Remember how we used to pick them up together?
ああ、あれガラスのかけらだったのか。
Oh, were those glass fragments?
俺はてっきりそういう綺麗な石なんだと思い込んでたぜ。
Battler's so dumb. I always thought those were just pretty stones.
エンジはガラスの石見たことある？
Have you ever seen a glass gem, Angie?
ない。
No.
じゃあ行こう。
Then let's go.
マリアが教えてあげるよ。
I'll show you.
行こう行こ
Let's go, let's
う。でも早い
go.
者勝ちだよ。
But the first to see them gets to keep them.
マリアが全部拾っちゃう。
I'm gonna get them all.
なら私も負けないぜ。
In that case, I'm not gonna lose either.
誰が一番綺麗で大きなガラス石を拾えるか競争しよう。
Let's see who can find the prettiest, biggest glass gem.
やれやれ。
Alright.
ここは一つ童心に戻るとするかな。
At times like this, why not be a kid?
負けねえぞ。
I'm not gonna lose either.
じゃあ僕たちは浜辺へ行ってきます。
Then we'll head down to the beach. Indeed.
いとこ同士のんびりしてくるがよい。
Take it easy and enjoy your time together, grandchildren. The cousins rose from their seats and noisily left the dining hall. Maria grabbed Angie's hand and dragged her along. However, Angie's expression was vague and absent-minded, the opposite of Maria's full smile. Angie knows something feels weird. She's like, what? The cousins walked along the beach, playing in all kinds of ways. They searched for bits of glass polished by the waves to become small and gem-like. They caught up on news of each other's lives and joked around. They wrote words in the sand. They chased the receding waves and ran away from the coming ones. Cousins enjoyed the time they had to themselves.
待て待てマリア。
Get back here, Maria!
今度は許さねえぞ。
You won't get off easy this time! Wahaha! No way, no way.
転ぶと怪我をするよ。
You'll get hurt if you fall.
二人とも気をつけて。
Be careful, you two.
風が強くなってきたかな。
Feels like the wind's gotten stronger.
そろそろ引き上げた方がいいかもしれねえぜ。
Maybe we should head back soon.
そうだね。
You're right.
空も曇ってきた気がするよ。
I think the sky's getting cloudier too.
バトラ君、マリアちゃん、
Badler-kun, Maria-chan.
そろそろおしまいにして、一度ゲストハウスに戻ろうか。
I think we should call it a day soon and head back to the guest house for the time being.
お、やだ。
Huh? No
もっ
way!
と遊ぶ。
I want to play more.
こらこら。聞き分けろおい。
Hey, don't ignore your cousin.
じゃあこれでおしまいだ。
Okay, that's all for now.
ほら、俺のガラス石やるよ。
Here, I'll give you my glass gem.
おい、本
Oh, really?
当？ありがとうバトラ
Thank you, Battler.
ー。これで一番数が多いのはマリアだから優勝だね。
Now I have the most, so I win.
うんうんうん。
エンジェ、大丈夫か？
Angie, are you okay?
うん。
Yeah.
どうしたエンジェ。
What's wrong, Angie?
少し元気ないぞ。
You look a little down.
疲れたんだよ。
She's just tired out.
さあ、みんなで戻ろう。
Come on, let's all head back together. Angie's expression probably did look tired. However, Battler alone thought he saw something else in it.
なんかあったのか？
What's wrong?
話してごらん。
Can you tell me?
なんでもない。
It's nothing. She said that, but something in her expression showed that she was unsatisfied for some reason. Since Angie didn't say what it was, and Battler couldn't think of anything, He was unable to guess anymore. So, he squeezed her small hand, silently letting her know that she could tell him whenever she was ready. Even though it had seemed like such a bright, sunny day a second ago, the sky turned gray, and the winds started to feel more annoying than pleasant. If they waited around, they would probably see scattered raindrops as well soon.
これであとはずーっと大雨ってわけか。
I guess it'll be raining the whole time from now on.
なんだかげんなりするぜ。
What a pain.
でも短い時間だったけど童心に戻れて楽しかったよ。
Still, even though it didn't last long, it was fun to be a kid again.
このガラス石早くママに見せてあげるの。
I can't wait to show Mama this glass gem.
マリアが優勝したってママに教えるの。
I'm gonna tell her I've won.
俺が見つけたやつを譲ったんだけどな。
Even though you only won because I gave you mine.
マリアがもらったからマリアのものなの。
I got it, so it's mine.
だからマリアが優勝なの。
So I won. Angie walked distractedly, pulled along by her brother. George and the others thought that she had probably woken up too early and was tired, so they didn't try to talk to her much. As they reached the end of the forested path, the rose garden lay before them. They could see strong winds making the rose bushes wave. Mama, look! I won! Maria ran forward, waving her hands about and yelling. It looked as though Rosa was waving to them from the front of the guest house.
私は一度自分の部屋に戻るぜ。
I'm gonna head back to my room for a sec.
そしたらすぐいとこ部屋に行くよ。
I'll meet you in the cousin room right after.
わかったよ。
Okay, got it.
じゃあ後ほどね。
See you later then. Jessica ran off in the direction of the mansion. George turned around as though suggesting that they had better get going too. However, when he saw Angie standing still with a crabby look on her face, he realized that something might have put her into a bad mood.
大丈夫かい?
Is everything okay?
ああ、大丈夫だよ。
Yeah, she's fine.
悪いけど、先に行っててくれねえかな。
Sorry, but would you mind going on ahead of us?
わかったよ。
Sure, got it.
じゃあ後で。
See you later. George headed for the guest house. The only ones left in the rose garden were Battler, who was waving at George, and Angie, who was still staring at the ground and holding Battler's hand. For the past few minutes, he had repeatedly asked Angie what was wrong. He realized that this wasn't anything like a stomachache or something obvious that had made her grumpy. However, young girls sometimes get upset for reasons that only they can understand. Women, am I right? Battler knew this, so he didn't rush her in any way, and continued to gaze around the beautiful rose garden holding her hand.
お兄ちゃん。
Oni-chan.
どうした?
What is it?
どこ?
Where
ここ.
are we? She asked the question as though she was talking about something on the other side of the silver screen. Dude, I'm so here. I am so ready for baby Angie being like, this is not right. Something just seems so off. Though Battler understood what that question meant, he played dumb.
どこって?
Where are we?
六軒島だろ?
We're on Rokenjima, right?
違うわ。
You're wrong.
違わねえさ。
No, I'm not.
これのどこが六軒島だっていうのよ。
How is this Rokenjima?
1986年10月4日の。
It's the Rokenjima of October 4th, 1986.
お前が知りたがってた六軒島だ。
The Rokenjima you've wanted to see for so long.
嘘よ。
That's a lie.
どうして?
Why do you say that?
こんなの嘘っぱちだわ。
This is totally fake. Angie wrenched her hand from her brother's grip. That hand hit a rose and sent flower petals flying. Okay, so this is how this is gonna end. So he tries to put a very flowery, nice-looking Rokkenjima. We see all the lies constantly, even here at the beginning. And she's like, this isn't right at all. This is clearly not right. And then he goes, oh, you want to see the worst shit? And just sucks her into... He sets the game back up. And it's like murder happening and shit. And she's like, I don't know if I read that right. That hand hit a rose and sent flower petals flying. Okay. I don't lie. How is this supposed to be the truth? Angie spat those words out. However, Battler's expression remained calm and composed. What don't you like about it? Ishiromiya Kinzo, for example. He wasn't anything like that, right? What? Grandfather wouldn't smile. When he's been reunited with his grandchildren after a long time. Ishiromiya Kinzo wasn't that kind of person. Ishiromiya Kinzo was... strict, discontented, short-tempered, and quick to anger. So you do understand. What was all that back there? How is that supposed to be Ishiromiya Kinzo? Halloween? Exchanging presents? What the hell was that? That's nothing like Ishiromiya Kinzo. This is nothing like Rokkenjima. Don't you remember, Angie? Remember what? We did that every year, didn't we? Every year? That? Well, I guess it's no surprise. The last time you went to a family conference, you were less than 6 years old. Oh no, is he attempting to gaslight her? Are we seeing real-time gaslighting? So, it's only natural that you wouldn't remember. Or is he telling the truth? It's only natural that I don't remember? Angie understood what her brother was trying to say. However, she couldn't accept it. It's true that Ishiromiya Kinzo was a rigid man. When he was younger, he really was strict with his kids, apparently. And well, it's probably not wrong to say that it was pretty traumatic for Dad and the others. And that they're still a bit scared of him. The grand tale of how Kinzo restored the Ishiromiya family was more than enough to paint him as a rigid, terrifying man. Furthermore, Kinzo was an investor. All the legends and tales that made him seem more mysterious had probably worked in his business's favor. At times, Kinzo may have even acted out this part people expected, endeavoring to make his presence all the more overpowering. That's why the world at large spoke of Ishiromiya Kinzo as a strict, short-tempered man. And they even thought of him as a fickle, bold, incomprehensible eccentric. But that was just the face grandfather showed to the world. That's not how he acted in private, alone with his family. Are you saying that weeping old man who doted on his grandchildren is the real Ishiromiya Kinzo? He must have played with you and patted your head many times. Do you really not remember? stuff like that might have happened once or twice, but that must have been a mere whim of his. My parents told me all the time, grandfather's a terrifying person, so make sure you act properly. They always said that he's very scary, so take care. And that means he was a scary person.
幼いお前は親の言いつけを過剰に聞いて鵜呑みにする。よく言えば素直な。
When you were little, you would always accept whatever your parents said and take it too seriously.
悪く言えば思い込みの激しい子だった。
To put it nicely, you were obedient, but to put it bluntly, you were a kid with an overactive imagination.
親父たちは行儀よくしてるようにと念を押していただけなんだ。
Dad and the others were just trying to make you realize how important it was to be polite.
私見てたもん。
I saw it though.
知ってたもん。
I knew about it.
後宮金蔵は恐ろしい人だって。
I knew that Ishinomiya Kinzo was a scary person.
怒鳴ってるところを見たことがあるもん。
I've even seen him yelling in anger.
私は覚えてる。忘れない。
I'll never forget it.
さっきも見た通り、じいさまは唐突なお人だ。
Well, like you saw just now, grandfather could be a bit abrupt at times.
ひょっとすると何かを驚かそうとしたのかもしれない。
He might just have been trying to surprise you.
あるいは親たちとの真剣な議論の中でつい怒鳴ってしまったこともあったかもしれない。
Or it might have slipped out when he was having a serious discussion with his kids.
それを私が勝手に怯えて。
And you think I just got scared for no reason?
勝手にそうだと思い込んだっていうの。
And got the wrong idea?
そんなはずないわ。そんなはずない。
That can't be. That can't be true.
だって私は覚えてるもの。忘れない。
I mean, I still remember it.
ちゃんと見たわ。後宮金蔵が怒鳴ってる恐ろしいところ。
I know I saw Ishinomiya Kinzo yelling and being scary.
父さんも母さんも怯えていたわ。だからわかるの。私はわかる。
Mom and Dad were terrified too, so I know I'm right.
幼いお前が抱いたじいさまの印象はそのまま残り、お前の成長とともに膨らんだ。
The impression you had of grandfather when you were young remained with you. That impression grew inside you as you grew up. How many times did Angie see Kinzo in her life? God, we're getting like philosophical about like family ties and everything. How old was she the last time she saw him? Angie, who got sick easily when under pressure, couldn't have gone to Rokenjima often. And, since she was absent for the family conferences when she was 6, her last memories of him must have come from when she was just 5 years old.
お兄ちゃんだって。
Not philosophical necessarily, that's not the word I probably should use. But you know what I'm trying to say. But even you haven't seen Ishinomiya Kinzo.
6年間、後宮金蔵には会ってないじゃない。
For 6 years.
そうだな。
That's right.
でも、6年ぶりに帰ってきて。
But when I finally came back after 6 years,
じいさまは6年経っても全く変わってなかったって知ったぜ。
I saw that grandfather hadn't changed in the slightest.
金蔵は気まぐれで何を考えてるかわからなくて。
Kinzo was fickle, so you can never understand what he was thinking.
不気味なオカルト趣味の鬼人で。
And he was an eccentric with a creepy love for the occult and...
オカルト趣味なのは間違いない。
It's true that he had love for the occult.
妖精の趣味にしちゃちょいと珍しいものだったのは事実だ。
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange hobby for him to get into his final years.
その不気味な収集品で孫を怖がらせてからかう悪い趣味があったことは俺も認める。
I'll admit that his hobby of collecting strange objects to scare his grandchildren and laugh at them wasn't exactly praiseworthy. Even Battler had been pranked by Kinzo in the past. He'd do things like showing off an attache case with 7 strange stakes in it, and say something about how they were once used in the Middle Ages to gouge the hearts of victims in a witch's ceremony. When Kinzo did things like that, it was pretty scary, but looking back on it now, they really were childish pranks. grandfather only scared his grandchildren because he wanted to joke around with them.
じいさまはきっとお前にも同じことをしてからかったと思う。
I'd be willing to bet that grandfather pulled a prank like that on you too.
幼いお前がそれに怯えてじいさまを不気味で恐ろしい人だと思い込んだとしても無理もない話だと思う。
It's no surprise that, young as you were, you let that scare you and convince you that grandfather was a strange, terrifying person.
お兄ちゃんが何を言ってるのかわからない。
I don't know what you're talking about, Oni-chan. Angie bit her lower lip and stared at the ground. She said she didn't understand, but in truth, she understood perfectly and was refusing to accept it.
さっき客間でハロウィンのプレゼント交換があったな。
Remember how we traded Halloween presents in the parlor just now?
何よあれ。
But, what was that all about?
あんな甘ったるいこと後ろ宮家でやるわけがない。
The Ishimiya family never did anything that sentimental.
お前はまるで覚えてないんだな。
It's almost as though you don't remember it at all.
私もかつてプレゼントをもらったことがあるというの？
Are you saying I got presents once too?
覚えてない。
I don't remember anything like that.
そんなのあるわけがない。
That can never happen.
オカルト好きで西洋かぶれのじいさまがハロウィンをやらないと思うか？
Do you really think that grandfather, a man who loved the occult and Western traditions, wouldn't celebrate Halloween?
じいさまのハッピーハロウィンはもう親族会議の挨拶みたいなもんだったぜ。
Grandfather's Happy Halloween was pretty much the standard greeting at our family conferences.
エンジェラってもらってるはずだ。
He must have said it to you too.
幼いってのは残酷だな。
Youth can be so cruel.
じいさまが心を込めて選んだろうプレゼントもお前の心には全く残らなかった。
Even though grandfather put all his heart into choosing those presents, it looks like your heart didn't remember anything.
私が幼かったから覚えてないだけで。
Are you saying that I was just too young to remember?
あれが真実の10月4日だというの？
And that was the truth of October 4th?
あの日も6年前と何も変わらず
On that day, just like 6 years before,
じいさまはハッピーハロウィンの声とともに客間にやってきたよ。
grandfather entered the parlor with a cry of Happy Halloween.
そして俺との6年ぶりの再会に涙をこぼしてくれながら
Then,
プレゼントの交換をした。
then he and I traded presents as he shed tears over our long-awaited reunion after a 6-year gap.
じいさまはエンジが来れなかったことを残念がっていたよ。
Grandfather seemed so sad that Angie wasn't able to come.
だからエンジにぜひ渡してくれとキリエさんにプレゼントボックスを預けていた。
So, he gave Kairi-san a present, telling her to make sure that Angie got it.
そんなプレゼント私は知らない。
I never heard anything about a present like that.
受け取ってない。
Mom never gave it to me.
そうだな。
True.
お前に届けることはできなかったな。
She never had the chance.
私は信じない。
I don't believe it.
あんな後ろ宮金蔵なんて信じない。
I won't believe that was Ishiro Kinzo.
じゃあ親族会議はどうなの？
Then what about the family conference itself?
遺産分配のためのきな臭いものじゃなかったの？
Wasn't there a tense argument over the distribution of the inheritance?
親族兄弟たちはみんな資金繰りに困っていた。
What am I looking at here? There we go, I got it. Don't worry about it. I uncovered it. All the adult siblings were in money trouble.
そのために金蔵の遺産を渇望していた。
That's why they all longed for Kinzo's inheritance money.
エンジェはそんなことをどこで知った？
Angie, where did you hear that from?
どこって、そうでしょ？
What do you mean, where?
それが真実でしょ？
It's the truth, isn't it?
幼いエンジに親父が自分の会社の経営が苦しいなどと相談すると思うか？
Do you think Dad would talk to you about financial difficulties with his company when you were that age?
親父だけじゃない。
And not just Dad.
クラウスおじさんやエヴァおばさん、ローザおばさんや幼いエンジェル、資金繰りに困っているから早く遺産が欲しいなんて話を。
Angie's been hitting subscribe on too many true crime podcasts. That's good. Even if Uncle Kraus, Aunt Eva, and Aunt Rosa were in money trouble and wanted Kinzo's inheritance money.
仮にするにしても、お前がいる前ですると思うか?
Do you really think they'd talk about it in front of you?
だって。
But.
でも本当でしょ?
But it's true, isn't it? In the end, it was true. Angie's words were not mistaken. Not only Rudolph, but even Kraus, Hideyoshi, and Rosa had companies in money trouble. I love the narration here. In fact, she was correct. People started talking about the Rokkenjima explosion accident as though it was some sort of conspiracy. And a mystery imagined by the public covered the island. Weekly magazines and television shows researched the circumstances of Kinzo's children at the time, and in the future where Angie lived, that research had been made public.
お前がそれを知ったのは1986年よりも。
Problem is those podcasts are about our family. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, that's true. Because we learned in previous instances where like, and what literally was being said like right there was all about like, and we obviously had heard about it before, but like how the mystery surrounding what happened on this day to this family was the talk of the town. Everyone was so interested in it. We learned about all that after 1986.
でも事実でしょ?
But it's a fact, isn't it?
事実は真実.
There's no difference between facts and truth.
だからロッケン島での親族たちは遺産をめぐってギスギスしていたってわけか?
Does that prove that the inheritance created a strained atmosphere between the relatives on Rokkenjima?
そこにエンジェの幼い頃の親族会議では粗相がないように行儀よくしているようにと親に重ねて言われて緊張した記憶が重なる。
I guess that might fit with your memory of your parents telling you repeatedly to be extra polite at the family conference.
私の知っているロッケン島が後宮家が
Are you saying that what I know about Rokkenjima, what I know about the Ishinomiya family,
間違ってるっていうの?
is wrong?
間違ってるのはお兄ちゃんよ.
You're the one who's wrong, Oni-chan.
あんなのありえない。あるわけがない.
There's no way something like that could be possible.
私は認めないわ。あんな後宮金蔵.
I won't accept that that was Ishinomiya Kinzo.
断じてあんな後宮金蔵を受け入れることなんてできない.
I could never accept that.
エンジェは信じないのか?
So, you don't believe, Angie?
信じない.
That's right, I don't believe.
お兄ちゃんがどういうつもりでこんなものを見せているのかわからないけれど。
I don't understand why you're showing me something like this.
だってこれはお兄ちゃんのゲーム。いえ、ゲーム版じゃない。
After all, this is your game. No, your game board, isn't it?
ベアトだの、ベルンだの。
First, it was Beato and Byrne.
何人もの魔女が私の運命を嘲笑い、そのゲームで屈服させようとしてきたわ。
One witch after another sneered at my fate, trying to make me surrender in their games.
でも、私は真実を求めている。
But I want the truth. I was literally gonna say, like, it's very funny that this skepticism and this anger is all coming from the body of like a very small child. It's just very good.
魔女たちのまやかしなんか通用しない。
Witch illusions won't work on me.
なるほどね。魔女たちめ。
Now I get it. You damn witches.
最後の資格にお兄ちゃんを送り込んできたってわけだわ。
So, you sent Oni-chan as a final assassin to finish me off.
そうだな。
You're right.
これは俺のゲームだ。
This is my game.
だから確かにこれは俺の物語であり、俺が紡いでいる。
So of course, this is my tale and I'm the one making it.
だからこそ もしもお前が島に来ることができたならという if を混ぜることができる。
That's why I'm able to add in what if situations like that. What would happen if you came to the island too? This is my fanfic and I get the liberties of making it however I want it to be.
ほら
See?
お兄ちゃんの物語じゃない。
You made this tale.
全部お兄ちゃんの嘘っぱちの作り話じゃない。
It's all pack of lies, a fiction you created.
そうだな。
You're right.
これは全て俺の作り話だ。
This is all fiction I created.
ほら
See?
認めたわね。認めたじゃない。
You've admitted it. You have, haven't you?
やっぱりこれはお兄ちゃんの嘘なのよ。
Just like I thought, this is all a lie you made.
どうして嘘をつくの？
Why are you lying to me?
どうして私に真実を教えてくれないの？
Why won't you tell me the truth?
真実よりもっと大切な。
Because there's something I need you to understand.
どうしても伝えたいことがあるからだ。
Something more important than the truth.
真実より大切なこと？
Something more important than the truth.
何それ？わけわかんない。
What the hell are you talking about?
それを分からせるためのものが俺のゲームだ。
The purpose of my game is to make you understand that. Just as Beato's games were made to make Battler believe in witches, Battler's game was made to show Angie something that was more important than the truth. Games never bring about their intended ends by force. After all, Beato's game could never be won for all eternity, unless Battler acknowledged witches on his own. Battler's game was the same. Battler couldn't win in this game, unless Angie acknowledged it herself. So, Battler advanced this game just as Beato had done in the past. To believe it or not. To accept it or not. The decision lay solely in the hands of the opponent. And so, Battler was trying to enshroud Angie with his own illusion.
ようやく理解したわ。
I finally get it.
これは私とお兄ちゃんのゲームなのね。
This is a game between me and you, Oni-chan.
エンジェ。
Angie.
俺はお前とゲームをしているつもりはない。
I'm not trying to challenge you to a game.
いいえ。
No.
これはゲームだわ。
This is a game. She's like, nope. It is a game.
私は1986年10月4日の真実が知りたいと願った。
I made a wish, hoping to learn the truth of October 4th, 1986.
そしてお兄ちゃんは私にそれを見せると言ってこのゲームへ招いたわ。
And so, you invited me to this game, saying that you'd show me the truth.
そしておかしな幻想を見せてそれが真実だと私に信じ込ませようとしている。
And now, you're showing me this strange illusion, trying to make me believe that it's the truth.
おあいにくね。
Well, too bad.
私魔女たちとのやりとりは慣れてるの。
I'm already used to dealing with witches.
お兄ちゃんが優しそうな顔をして私を騙そうとしてることなんて百も承知なんだから。
I can totally tell that you're trying to use that kind face of yours to trick me. Patter's like, why'd you say fuck me for? The big brother realized that no words of his would have any effect on his enraged little sister. So, he just quietly listened to Angie's words. But even so, Angie was dissatisfied.
もうくだらない茶番は飽き飽きだわ。
I've had more than enough of this stupid farce.
お兄ちゃんに真実を話す気がないと言うなら、もうおしまいにして。
If you don't plan on telling me the truth, then end it now.
私は私の真実を自分で探す。
I'll find my own truth for myself. She's this close to just flipping the board.
お兄ちゃんには頼らない。
I won't rely on you.
そうよ。
That's right.
もともと頼るべき人間なんて
There never was.
私にはいなかったじゃない。
There never was anyone I could rely on anyway.
私はいつだって一人ぼっちだったわよ。
I've always been all alone. Ah, she's so hardened.
悪いが。
She's so grumpy. She's so upset and sad and mad and bad at the world from so many years. Because honestly, I think what it's trying to say is like she has a hard time just opening up and accepting this when she's clearly coming in with, like, outside, prejudices might not be the right word, but outside knowledge of the situation, and also how she was raised, or lack thereof, from kid to the Angie we know of, like, slightly older Angie. So Battler says sorry. Nap time. Send her. Go to your room, Angie. I won't let you leave this game. Ah, that's right.
ゲームマスターが負けを認めない限り、ゲームは永遠に終わらないんだったっけ?
Unless the game master admits defeat, the game never ends, right?
そんなつもりはないさ。
That isn't what I meant.
黙って話を聞けってだけのことだ。
I'm just telling you to stay quiet and listen. I'm gonna force feed this game into you.
ああ、そう。
Ah, sure.
なら黙ってることにするわ。
I'll just stay quiet then.
プレイヤーがいなくても、駒は勝手に動き、ゲームは進む。
Even if a player isn't around, pieces just move by themselves, and the game moves forward.
そうだったわよね。
Isn't that how it works?
そうだな。
That's right.
プレイヤーを離れ、少し傍観者になるといい。
A player can step back and become an observer for a while if they want.
そして、また戻ってきたいときに戻ればいい。
And they can return and join in whenever they want to.
そうさせてもらうわ。
Then I'll do that.
これはコンクラベよ。
This is an endurance contest.
お兄ちゃんが真実をごまかすことを諦めるまでのね。
It'll keep on going until you stop trying to cover up the truth.
真実より大切なこと？
Something more important than the truth.
意味わかんない。
I don't get it.
そんなものあるわけがない。
How could anything like that exist?
あるんだよ、エンジ。
It does, Angie.
仮に俺の物語が真実でなかったとしても、あったとしても。
Whether my tale is the truth or not.
お前は大切なものをこの島でなくしているんだ。
The fact remains that you lost something precious on this island.
お父さん、お母さん。
Dad, Mom.
そしてお兄ちゃん。
And you, Oni-chan.
私がなくしたのは家族と、そして全てよ。
I lost my family and everything that mattered to me. She spat out those words as though no further questioning would do any good, and looked away. Even as he watched this, Battler's expression remained gentle.
勝手に進めなさいよ。
Just keep going however you like.
じゃあね、お兄ちゃん。
Later, Oni-chan.
物語だけはちゃんと見ていろよ。
At least make sure you watch the tale.
聞くだけでもいい。
Even just listening is enough.
気が向いたらね。
If I feel like it.
じゃあ。
Later. Great. Angie's eyes clouded. Then, a particularly strong gust of wind blew by, sending her hair flying. The wind must have been carrying some dust with it. Angie's nose twitched, and she sneezed loudly.
お兄ちゃ
ん Oni-chan.
なんだい?
What is it?
いつまでここにいるの？なんかお天気変。
How long are we gonna stand here? Weather's all weird.
ゲストハウスに帰ろうよ。
Let's go back to the guest house. Angie's eyes weren't cloudy anymore. However, tone and atmosphere about those eyes seemed somehow different than before. In a manner typical of young girls, Angie signaled that she was too bored and wanted to go do something. This Angie was clearly a 6-year-old Angie. You like the kinder, bad-mouthed Angie. This Angie was clearly a 6-year-old Angie.
そうだね。
Good point.
じゃあ、エンジはゲストハウスに戻ってるといい。
Then why don't you head back to the guest house now?
お兄ちゃんはまだここにいるよ。
I'm going to stay here.
どうして？もうすぐ雨が降ってくるよ。
Why? It'll start raining soon.
そろそろ来るはずなんだ。
It won't be long now.
だから俺は待ってるよ。
So, I'll wait here a bit longer.
待ってるって誰？
You're waiting here. Who are you waiting for? Huh? Her. Then, to Angie's eyes, it looked as though the strong winds were carrying flakes of gold along with them. No, she had definitely seen something, but she wasn't able to describe what she had seen. So to her, it had seemed like flakes of gold dancing on the wind.
来たか。
So, here you are.
ずいぶん待ったぜ。
I've been waiting a while now. It was as though he was talking to the wind. Battler spoke to the empty rose garden. That can't be right. After all, it was clear from his words that he was talking to someone right in front of him. So, Angie thought it must be someone that she alone couldn't see. She rubbed her eyes. Then, when she opened her eyes wide, another large gust of wind blew past her. She shut her eyes immediately, and when she timidly opened them, from the other end of the rose garden, yes, from the path that led up from the harbor, a person appeared. To Angie, it looked as though she had appeared along with a cloud of gold flakes carried by the wind.
遅えぞ、ベアト。
You're late, Beato.
そうか、むしろ早いぞ。
Am I? I'd call it early.
たまにはお前も一緒に船に乗ればいいんだ。
You should ride in the boat with us every now and then.
柵に捕まってお前と一緒に叫ぶか？
You mean grasp the handrail and scream alongside you?
いいぜ、叫ぼうぜ。落ちる、落ちるってな。
Yeah, sure. Let's scream. Fall, fall.
なるほど。それも悪くなかった。
I see. How interesting.
認めよう。どうやらわらわが来るのは遅かったらしい。
Yes, I suppose I did arrive too late. The pair casually walked up to each other and hugged. It looked like a pair of friends being reunited after several years. Angie, surprised by this unfamiliar woman, looked for somewhere to hide. However, her eyes met Beato's, and she was unable to escape.
Oh, そなたはエンジェか。
Oh, and you must be Angie. She was shocked to hear this unfamiliar woman suddenly use her name.
こやつも6歳の頃はなかなかに可愛かったではないか。
Look, even she can be so cute when she's 6 years old.
お兄ちゃん。
Oh, Oni-chan.
この人誰？
Who is this person?
お兄ちゃんの友人だ。
A friend of mine.
友人？
That's good. A friend?
それはあんまりだろうが。
How can you say that?
お兄ちゃんの友達？
Oni-chan's friend?
こいつはベアトリーチェ。
This is Beatrice.
おじいちゃんから聞いたことないか？
You've heard from grandfather, haven't you?
後ろ宮家に黄金を授けてくれた。
About the Golden
黄
Witch?
金の魔女の話を。
About the Golden Witch who gave the Ishimiya family its gold? Haven't I heard that before? The Golden Witch. Now I remember. That was the scary witch who had snatched you up and carry you off into the forest if you didn't listen to your parents or stayed up too late on Rokujima.
雨の夜、
Mom said
真っ暗な森を窓から眺めてると、
that on rainy nights, if you look out the window at the dark forest,
魔女と目があってさらわれてしまうかもしれないってお母さんに言われた。
you might see the witch looking back at you and get snatched away.
ということは、
Which must mean
わらわは夜更かしの子供を見張るため、寒い雨の中、窓を一つ一つ覗き込まねばならぬというのか。
that I'm supposed to be wandering about in the cold rain, looking into each window to find kids staying up too late?
それはあまりに無体な。
How pathetic that would be.
確かに。
Good point.
エンジェ、それはお前に夜更かしをさせないための親の作り話だ。
Angie, your parents just made that story up to get you to go to bed on time.
彼女はそんなことはしない。
Beatrice doesn't do stuff like that.
よかろう、名乗ろうぞ。
Very well. Allow me to introduce myself.
わらわは黄金の魔女、ベアトリーチェ。
I am Beatrice, the Golden Witch. Now I did hear. There we go. Look, it's a full board. Look at that. The Golden Witch has lived for 1,000 years. She has surpassed the limits of humans and, like demons, sometimes appear in response to summons made by humans to offer her power in exchange for a price. She has been called here for a ceremony involving the return of a vast amount of gold, which the Ishimiya family received from her grandmother. Rokujima no longer has any need for the old arguments and tragedies. Great.
No. お孫さんだ。
Hot topic thigh eyes. Or her grandchild, at least.
孫？
Grandchild.
お孫さんとはなんとも締まらぬ呼び名であるな。
That grandchild part's a bit of a killjoy.
だってそうだろ。
Well, it's true, isn't it?
じい様に黄金を授けて黄金の魔女と呼ばれたのはお前のばあ様の話だろうが。
The person that grandfather got the gold from and called the Golden Witch was your grandmother, right?
確かにそうではあるわ。
I guess.
黄金の魔女の孫か。
The grandchild of the Golden Witch, am I?
そのキャッチコピー、もう少しマシなものにはならぬのか？
Can I get a better title than that?
この人、魔女なの？
Is this person a witch?
ああ、そうだよ。
Yep, she is.
今日の親族会議に招かれたお客さんだ。
She's the guest who's been invited to the family conference today.
怖い魔女じゃないの？
She isn't a scary witch.
暗い森に私をさらったりしない？
She's not gonna take me away into the forest?
おのれ、ルドルフにキリエめ。
Damn, Rudolph and Kairi.
一体わらわを何だと思って吹き込んだのやら。
Just what do they think they're telling this kid about me?
わらわはそんなことはせぬわ。
I don't do things like that.
後で厳重に抗議する。プンプン。
I'll lodge a firm protest later. Pow. She looked like a fiercely emotional person, but she wasn't at all what Angie had expected the creepy Golden Witch to be like. She was very loud, overreacting to everything. Nothing at all like the witch Maria Oni-chan had talked about, who had lived for 1,000 years and had various servants from the demon world. She looked, well, like an energetic young woman, the kind Angie's mom might have gotten along great with. Her brother and the witch talked together happily like a pair of close friends. Dogs tend not to trust people they meet for the first time. However, people say they calm down once they see that their owner is on good terms with the stranger. Surely, something similar to this was going on in Angie's heart. Angie kept staring at this pushy, temperamental woman who called herself a witch, as she chatted happily with her brother.
その鍵は？
What's this key for? Beatrice noticed the gold key hanging from Angie's neck. Angie automatically and defensively grasped it.
エンジェの大切な鍵だ。
That's Angie's precious key. After hearing these vague words, the witch stared blankly for a second. But, almost immediately, she seemed to understand what he meant.
なるほど。
I see.
そういうことか。
Is that how it is?
すべきことを明確にした方が分かりやすいだろうと思ってな。
I thought it'd be easier to understand if I made it clear what she's supposed to do.
安心せよ、エンジ。
Fear not, Angie.
そなたの大切な鍵を奪ったりなどせぬぞ。
No one's going to steal your precious key.
本当に？
Are you sure?
もちろんであるとも。
Of course.
それはそなたの鍵であり、そなたが決めることである。
That key belongs to you and the choice is yours.
バトラム、そしてわらわたちも、そなたを導く道しるべの役にしか過ぎぬのだから。
Battler and the rest of us are merely signposts to guide you on your path. when her brother gave her that key, he had said that it was very important, so she had to take good care of it. And she didn't have a clue what the key was for, but it looked like Beato did. However, just like her brother had done earlier, Beato only spoke in riddles. This irritated Angie, but for the time being, the Golden Witch said that she didn't intend to steal the key, so Angie calmed down a little.
あなたはこの鍵が何に使うものなのか
Do you
知っているの
know what this key is used for?
もちろんであるとも。
But of course.
だが、それを教えるわけにはいかん。
However, I cannot tell you.
どうして
Why not?
その鍵をどう使うかは、そなたが自分で決めねばならぬからだ。
Because you must decide how to use that key for yourself. The witch said the same thing as my brother. The pair nodded to each other, but it was all Greek to me. Felt like someone had laid out a riddle that everyone knew but me, and everyone was making fun of me.
やがてわかる。
You'll know soon enough.
無理に考える必要はない。
Don't waste time thinking about it. Angie held the key tightly. Even if she didn't understand what it meant, it was her own key, and her big brother had told her to take good care of it. With her youthful suspicion, she was scared that the witch might ask her to hand it over, saying that she'd teach her how to use it. Of course, her thoughts showed up clearly on her face. The witch couldn't help but laugh at that honest expression.
安心せよ。
Fear not.
そなたのその鍵は誰にも奪うことはできぬのだ。
It is impossible for anyone to steal that key from you.
誰にも奪えない
No one can steal it?
そういう魔法が込められているとでも理解せよ。
You might say that it has been imbued with magic to make it so.
とにかく安心するがよい。
At any rate, fear not.
わらわもバトラも、そして島の誰も、そなたから鍵を奪うようなことはせぬ。
Neither I, nor Battler, nor anyone else on this island can steal that key from you.
本当に
Really?
ああ、本当だよ。
Yeah, really.
そういう魔法がかかってるんだ。
The magic won't let them. The key was hanging around her neck like an ordinary necklace. Angie could take it off right now if she wanted, and if an adult tried to use force, it seemed like it would be easy for them to take it away. However, both her brother and the witch said that it was protected by magic that could stop anyone from stealing it.
魔法なんて
Does magic
本当にあるの
really exist? Even the 6-year-old Angie knew about the word magic. However, she also realized that that real magic didn't exist, and that certain kinds of magic tricks were sometimes called magic. However, her brother and the witch were talking about magic itself.
ああ、
Yeah,
魔法は存在する。
magic exists. Magic exists.
本当に
Having trouble saying magic exists. Really?
マリアもよくわらわのことを話しているであろ
Maria spoke to me often, did she not?
う。魔女はいると。
She says that witches exist.
魔法は存在すると。そなたによく語ったはずだぞ。
And she often tells you that magic exists, correct? True. Maria had talked about that many times. When they were just playing, Angie had believed her more or less. However, Angie was, in some ways, sharp for her age. And when she heard Maria talking happily about magic, she sometimes thought that such a thing couldn't really exist.
なら見せて
Then show me.
ん
Hmm?
見せて魔法
Show me magic. Alright, time to whip out the ball under a cup. The candy under a cup trick. The tried and true magic trick.
じゃなきゃ信じない
Or fucking pull. We haven't brought up Mind Freak in a while. Bring up a Chris Angel levitating trick. Or I won't believe you.
おいおい。
Hold up a sec.
レアとは島に来たばかりで、まだ屋敷に挨拶にも行ってないんだぞ。
Beato just arrived on the island, and she hasn't even gone to say hi to everyone at the mansion yet. Need to think of a better magic. Battler spoke as though he was trying to smooth something over. When she heard that, Angie became sure that magic didn't exist after all.
魔女なんて嘘っぱち
Magic is just a bunch of lies. Quickly, take her nose. Take Angie's nose.
エンジェは知ってるもん
I know.
おい、よすんだ。
Hey, stop that.
ベアトが気を悪くする。
You'll hurt Beato's feelings.
よいよい。
No, it's no problem.
魔女に会えば誰だって同じことを問うだろう。
Anyone would say that upon meeting a witch.
いつもならばこのような幼子の挑発に付き合いはせぬのだが、バトラの妹であるからな。
Normally, I would ignore provocation from such a small child, but she's your little sister after all.
特別に披露してやってもよい。
Why don't we give her a special showing?
いいのか？
Are you sure?
よいよい。
Of course I am.
では見せよう。エン
What?
ジ。
Shh, watch carefully, Angie.
うん。
Okay. Though Angie had challenged the witch, now that she was about to be shown magic, she looked a bit hesitant. Mind freak! She gulped, then stared up at the witch's face. The witch held out her left hand, bringing it close to Angie's face. Then, she slowly spread her fingers. Angie, thinking that she was about to be turned into a frog, shrank back. However, after waiting a while and grinding her teeth, she realized that nothing was happening. So, the part of her that had been scared began to get angry.
何も起こらないの？
Nothing's happening.
早とちりするでない。
Don't jump to conclusions.
まだ魔法を使ってはおらぬぞ。
I haven't used magic yet.
ほれ、わらわの手のひらをよーく見るがよい。
See? Look carefully at my palm.
種も仕掛けもないな。
I'm not hiding anything, correct? Oh, so that's what she's doing. Now that she finally understood, Angie checked both sides of the witch's hand.
うん。
Yeah,
何もないの？
there's nothing there.
よく見ておれ。
Watch closely.
こうして握る。
I'll make a fist,
そして人差し指を立てる。
and then stretch out my index finger. She stretched out her index finger and held it right in front of Angie's eyes. Angie, thinking that she'd lose the game if she took a step back, stood her ground and concentrated on the fingertip.
人差し指の先をよーく見て。
She's gonna poke Angie in the face really hard. Just poof. Watch the tip of my finger closely.
行くぞ。早いぞ。
Ready? It'll be fast. The witch rapidly lifted her index finger high into the air, pointing at the heavens. Just as Angie looked up to see the finger raised high, it swung down as though it was trying to dodge her gaze. In that manner, up, down, left, right, then left again. Angie, feeling as though she'd lose as she couldn't keep up with the fingertip, swung her face this way and that, looking serious. Ever since she was very young, Angie had hated to lose. She would even take the most trivial games seriously, determined not to lose to the adults. The witch's hand moved faster and faster. Angie didn't lose track of it. Then, the high pointing finger was swung down all of a sudden. The index finger curled up again, and the hand was held in a simple fist. Could it be that something was going to come out of that hand? Angie, who had suspected that this might happen, had followed the finger very closely. There was no way that once empty hand could have grabbed anything.
よいか。手を開くぞ。
Ready? Going to open my hand. The witch slowly opened her right fist, and there... What? What?
どうして？
How?
どうしてお兄ちゃん？
How, Oni-chan? The witch gave the cutely wrapped candy to Angie as a present. Mind freak! Mind freak! Angie took it and desperately searched for some kind of trick on it, but it was just an everyday, ordinary candy. But it was just an everyday, ordinary candy. Maybe translation error. I thought she started with left hand. Why right fist? I don't know.
どうして？
How?
手品でしょお兄ちゃん。
That was a trick, wasn't it, Oni-chan?
お兄ちゃん。
Oni-chan?
いや、魔法だよ。
Nope. That was magic.
エンジェもずっと見てただろ。
You were watching the whole time, weren't you?
うん。
Since I was watching the whole time, how did it happen? Angie didn't like it, but she was unable to see how that could have been anything other than magic. As the little sister furrowed her brow and bit her lower lip, her brother gently told her again that it was magic. It's about time for me to head to the mansion to pay my respects. You should come along, Battler. I'll suffocate if I have to go alone.
そうか。じゃあ、お供させてもらうかな。
You sure? Then I'll join you.
エンジはどうする？
What about you, Angie?
ゲストハウスに戻ってるか？
Will you go back to the guest house?
お兄ちゃんと一緒がいい。
I want to stay with you, Oni-chan. She still couldn't accept it. However, could it really be? She still looked grumpy, but it looked like she was getting interested in this witch. Then let us go. The Golden Witch returns.
黄金の魔女の孫の帰還だけどな。
The Golden Witch's grandchild returns, you mean?
そのキャッチコピー、もう少しなんとかならぬものか。
We really need to do something about that name. The big brother and the witch really did seem close. With kindred spirits like a pair of comedians, they started walking. Angie held on to the corner of her brother's sleeve, trying to make sure he didn't forget about her. Silly. Fucking silly. Alright, we're going to continue, but I do need to throw up a quick BRB here. Give me maybe like 5 minutes at most here. 5, 6, 10, 15, 30 minutes. Give me just give me a little bit of time. We'll do a BRB and we'll be back to read more. Hopefully we get to see more magic, because consider my mind absolutely freaked right now. Okay, I'm back. Shall we continue? Oh, the music's still going hard. Where is it? Where is that game? Oh, waiting for it to pop back up. Piano, dying. Any moment now. Any moment now, OBS. I believe in you. There you go. Started panicking. Okay. Let's see. So we had that moment. Beatrice, Battler, Baby Angie, Banji, you could say, and the magic trick. The VIP room was filled with the sweet smell of pumpkin tea and packed with smiles and laughter. Not him again. Oh, Kinzo. I don't know if I like happy-go-lucky Kinzo. I don't know if I like him. Whatever. Oh, simply splendid. I'm glad to see you in such high spirits. I could say the same for you. But idiot said you're reaching for last year's. Wait, did I read that right? But idiot said you're reaching your last year's. That makes a lot more sense. I just borrow a bit of cheer from you. Once I return to my study, I will be little more than a withering, senile old man. Enough with your lies. Give it up and swear that you'll be living at large until you're 100.
俺もじいさまには6年ぶりに会ったけど全然変わってねえんで驚いたもんな。
Same here. Haven't seen you for 6 years, but I was surprised to see how little you changed.
バトラメ。
Whoa, you little brat.
この6年で世辞まで学んだか。
So, seems you've learned flattery during these past 6 years.
残念だがそれは節穴というものよ。
Sorry to disappoint you, but you're hardly a fair judge in the matter.
しっかりかっきり老いぼれておるわ。
I've grown quite old indeed.
金蔵が100歳になってピンピンしているのに1000円かけるぞ。
How about 1,000 yen that Kinzo's still doing great when he turns 100?
ああ、俺も。
Yeah, me too.
100歳になってもじいさまは今と変わらないさ。
Grandfather won't be any different when he's 100.
これ以上褒めても何も出ぬというのに。
Don't think you'll get any more presents for complimenting me. Kinzo laughed cheerily. Beato, who sat next to Battler, was also laughing merrily. Angie stood all alone by the window, staring at the others and trying to figure out what sort of relationship the witch of the portrait and her grandfather had. There was a knock on the door.
Genji ka?
Is that you, Genji?
入るがよい。
Come in.
失礼いたします。
Pardon the intrusion.
クラウス様と夏日様がお越しでございます。
Kraus-sama and Natsui-sama are here.
お父さん。おお、バトラ君も一緒かね。
Father. Oh, and Battlerkin's here too.
ご無沙汰しております、ベアトリーチェさん。
It has been some time, Beatrice-san.
おかわりはありませんか？
Has there been any news?
相変わらずであるわ。
I'm just the way I used to be.
さあ、座れ座れ。
Come on, have a seat.
エンジェも、どうしてそんな窓際にいるというのか。
And Angie, why are you standing by the window like that?
こっちへ来て座るがいい。
Come over here and sit down.
エンジェ、こっちにおいで。
Angie, come over here.
ここで見てるからいい。
I'll just watch from here. Angie grasped the candy she had gotten from Beato tightly, and with a gaze that was still wary, she continued to stare. Genji offered her a chair, but Angie just shook her head.
好きにさせてやりなさい。
Let her do as she pleases.
さあ、 クラウスも夏日もそこに座るがいい。
Come, Kraus, Natsui, and have a seat as well. Wait, come, Kraus, Natsui, and have a seat. Oh, and have a seat as well. Duh.
何か重要な話でも？
Is it something important?
俺とエンジは席を外した方がいいかな。
I guess Angie and I should leave.
おいおい、そなたが帰ったらわらわは誰に相槌を打たせればいいというのだ。
Hey, if you leave, who's going to back me up here?
金蔵、バトラがいても構わぬであろう。
Kinzo, you don't mind if Battler stays, do you?
隠す話でもない。
I have nothing to hide.
構わぬ。
I care not. However, he had called Kraus and Natsui to the VIP room to meet Beatrice, the Golden Witch. It was hard to imagine that Kinzo wanted to have a casual conversation. After Kinzo said he didn't mind, Beato also asked Battler to stay, so he decided to do so. In order to avoid getting in the way of their conversation, Battler stood up from the sofa and walked over to Angie's window. When the big brother finally came back to Angie, she clung to his waist, as though determined not to let him go away again. Oh, I see. That must be why Angie doesn't like me.
What? どうしてだ?
Huh? What do you mean?
エンジは別にお前のことを嫌ってなんかないだろ。
Angie doesn't dislike you, does she?
これだからバトラは女心がわからぬのだ。
You really don't understand women, Battler. Beato smiled at Angie, but the latter turned to look the other way.
女は幼くとも女であるな。
Even a young woman is a woman nonetheless. When Beato stopped laughing, the conversation switched gears. Why on earth did Kinzo summon Kraus and Natsui to the VIP room? What was he going to talk about? Everyone fell automatically silent. Wait, that was a new Beato face? Ah, I wasn't even paying. I was just looking down at the text too much. Fuck. Ah, I got Beatoed. Golden Witch Beatrice.
滅ぶ運命にあったはずの後ろ宮家を救ってくれた大恩。一日たりとも忘れたことはないぞ。
Each and every day, I remember the debt the Ishimiya family owes from when it was saved from the brink of destruction.
感謝せい、感謝せい。
Yeah, you better thank me.
じい様が感謝してるのはお前のばあさんの方だからな。
Well, it's actually your grandmother he's thanking.
やかましい。
Shut up, you.
いいや、同じことです。
No, it comes to the same thing.
莫大な黄金を3代にもわたり、後宮家に貸し付けてくれました。
All that gold has been lent to the Ishimiya family for 3 generations.
それも無償で。
And without cost.
本当にいくら感謝してもしたりません。
We truly cannot be grateful enough.
黄金など、わらわにはレンガも同じよ。
Gold bars are the same as bricks to me.
置き場もないから、金蔵が預かっててくれて助かる。
I had nowhere else to put them, so it was a relief to have Kinzo hold on to them.
ひゅー。
Whoa!
死ぬ前に一度は言ってみたいセリフだぜ。
I'd like to say that just once before I die.
黄金の魔女ってお金持ちなの？
Is the Golden Witch a rich person? Hmm?
そりゃそうだな。
Well, yeah.
何しろ10トンもの黄金をほいっとじい様に貸し出したんだからな。
After all, she just went and lent is getting me. Went and lent grandfather 10 tons of gold.
そうだ。
Precisely.
必ず返すと約束し、もう数十年も借りている。
Yeah, I've been borrowing it for several decades, always promising to return it someday.
その恩はもはや返しきれないほどだ。
It is a debt I will never be able to fully repay.
当家が感謝の気持ちを忘れたことはありません。
Head family has never forgotten its gratitude.
ねえあなた。
Isn't that right, dear?
無論だとも。
Of course.
3代にわたりベアトリーチェさんたちが気前よく貸してくれなかったら
If the Beatrices hadn't kindly lent it to us for 3 generations,
後宮家はとうに滅んでいましたとも。
the Ishimiya family would have fallen long ago.
夏湾のお父さんとて軍資金がなければ何もできなかったのですから。
Even someone as shrewd as father couldn't have done anything without funds to start with.
もはや金が金を呼び、黄金の軍資金は静かに眠るのみだ。
By now, my money is making money, and the gold that made up my original funds can sleep in peace.
クラウス。
Kraus.
私が何を話そうとしているかわかるか？
Do you know what I'm about to say? Since the moment Kraus had been summoned here, he had guessed what Kinzo was hinting at now. All things borrowed must be returned someday. That day had finally come.
はい、わかっています。
Yes, I understand.
お父さん。
Father? Father.
ベアトリーチェよ。
Beatrice.
私はもう追い先はわずかだ。
I do not have many years ahead of me.
おそらく。
In fact,
今日のこれが私とお前が会うことのできる最後の親族会議になろう。
this may be the last family conference that we will attend together.
何を気弱なことを。
How faint-hearted you sound.
そんなことがあろうはずもない。
You must be joking. Beato alone laughed. She looked at Battler, so he laughed along with her, but Kinzo and the others remained silent. Apparently there existed some major concerns about Kinzo's health.
無論来年すぐに死ぬつもりもない。
Of course, I do not intend to die as soon as next year.
しかし来年会おうと絶対の約束をすることはおそらくできぬ。
However, I don't believe I can make any certain promises about meeting you again.
私はいついかなる時でもできぬ約束をした試しは一度もない。
I never make promises I cannot keep.
そのようなことを胸を張って言われると、わらわも返す言葉がないぞ。
If you say it so proudly like that, I'm in no position to disagree.
本気で言っているのか？
Are you serious about this?
ベアトリーチェよ。
Beatrice.
もうしっかりとけじめをつけたいのだ。
I want to make amends.
私がこうして元気であるうちにな。
And I must do it while I'm still in high spirits.
だから私は今日それを決心することとした。
For that reason, I made a decision today.
おじいさまは何の話をしているの？
What's grandfather talking about?
静かに。
Quiet.
じいさまは今からとても大事な話をする。
Grandfather is about to talk about something very important. By now, even Battler understood what Kinzo was about to propose. Beato probably realized it too. At one time, the Ishimiya family had ruled the skies like an eagle before being crushed by the great Kanto earthquake. The eagle had one of its wings torn off and it crawled in the mud on the point of despair. Then, they were saved by the Golden Witch's golden miracle. Under the Golden Witch's protection, the eagle had nursed its wounds for many years. And now, finally, it was time for the eagle to leave the nest the witch had provided.
そなたの祖母より借り受けた黄金をすべて
I will return all of the gold
そなたに返還する。
that your grandmother lent me.
クラウス、異論はないな。
The only problem is, with like inflation probably being a thing, it's probably worth a little less back then, right? That's how it works. That's how economics works. That's how economics works, yeah. The gold is technically worth a little less than it did back in the day. It's depreciated in value just slightly, or it's you know, inflation and all that. I don't know. Kraus, you have no objections, correct?
もとよりあの黄金は後宮家のものではないのだ。
Pay it back with interest is what I'm saying. If you really want to be fair, Mr. Kinzo. That gold did not belong to the Ishimiya family in the first place.
無論です。
Of course.
何の異論もありませんとも。
I have no objections whatsoever.
良いのか、クラウス。
Are you sure, Kraus?
そなたは投資家であろう。
You're an investor, aren't you?
金はいくらあっても足りぬであろうが。
You could always do with more money, right?
金蔵から黄金を譲り受けたいと思っていたのではないのか。
Didn't you want Kinzo to hand the gold over to you?
それを言われれば確かに否定は難しい。
Yes, now that you mention it, it's hard to deny what you say.
しかし元より父とあなたの契約であり、そしてもともとあなたの黄金です。
However, contract was always between you and father, and the gold was yours to begin with.
主人は仮にも次期当主。
My husband is the successor, after all.
お父様が一代にて当家を復興させたように、
Just as father rebuilt the family in one generation,
主人も一代で当家を繁栄させるでしょう。
I'm sure my husband will make the family thrive in his.
そしてそれは主人と私で成し遂げることです。
And this is something the two of us will do together.
よくぞ言った。
Well said.
その息であるぞ。
Yes, that's the spirit. X to doubt. Yeah. Wait. Hold up.
10トンの黄金に未練はないというか。
So letting go of 10 tons of gold leaves you with no regrets?
やれやれ、大したものよ。
I must say, that is quite impressive.
黄金の魔法が効かぬ相手には魔女も型なしであるな。
What can a witch do against an opponent who cannot be swayed by the golden magic?
そなたに黄金を返還する。
I will return the gold to you.
だが、黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェが後ろ宮家にとって最大の恩人であることは未来永劫変わらぬぞ。
But the Ishurmiya family will always be supremely indebted to Beatrice, the Golden Witch. Take your gold back. They would return the gold once lent by the Golden Witch. It was both simple and clear. However, the expression worn by the Golden Witch herself was slightly lonely, and she couldn't understand why this was.
返すというものをいらん、やるとも言えぬしな。
After all, if you're returning it, I cannot simply say I don't want it, take it back.
やれやれ。
Oh, well. Beata rose from the sofa. She gave that noise when a middle-aged dad is getting up from the sofa. You know that noise? Huh! And it was just like, they maybe especially if they're slightly on the older side, they rock themselves a little and then they, huh! It's like a, huh! I have a lot of experience with that with my dad. The fatherly, I'm leaving the sofa noise. Then she walked up to the window and looked down at the rose garden waving in the wind. Kraus.
我が遺産についても私が生きているうちにお前たちに贈与することにした。
I have also decided to present you and the others with my inheritance while I still live.
お父さん。
Father.
私が死ねば葬式で大忙しな上に遺産はどうするのかとエヴァたちががっついてくるであろうが。
When I die, you'll not only be busy with the funeral, but I imagine that you will have Eva and the others at your throats over the inheritance issue.
今から分けておけば葬式が気楽になるというものよ。
If all is divided now, the funeral will be less trying for you.
クラウス、メモを取れ。
Kraus, write this down.
源氏も書記を頼む。
And Genji, please be our secretary.
これより財産の分け方を説明する。
I will now lay out the distribution of my assets. Kinzo immediately began explaining how the inheritance would be split up. Battler, realizing that he shouldn't be listening in on this conversation, walked over to where Beata was loitering by the window.
Yo, 大金持ち。
Hey, rich person.
黄金が余ってるなら少しは引き取るぜ。
If you've got too much gold on your hands, I'd be happy to lighten the load.
黄金など薪に変えて炉にくべればシチューを煮る程度の使い道はあるというものよ。
Gold would be more useful if you turned it into firewood and used it to cook a stew.
どうしたよ。
What's the matter?
なんだかつまらなそうな顔してんな。
You're looking a bit bored.
とうとうこの日が来たか。
So, this day has finally come.
寂しいものよな。
I do feel a bit lonely.
そうか？
You do?
わらわの魔法で後ろ宮家はよみがえり、そして六軒島は生まれた。
My magic revived the Ishimiya family and created Rokenjima.
その後ろ宮家がもうわらわの黄金の力には頼らぬという。
And now, it seems the Ishimiya family no longer has any need for the power of my gold.
わらわの魔法から巣立つということだ。
It has taken flight, leaving the nest of my magic behind.
そうだな。
True.
そういうことになるな。
That's how it's turned out.
わらわは六軒島を魔女の島と
I've called Rokenjima the Witch's Island.
わらわの島と呼んできた。
Excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. My island.
そうだったな。
I muted the first sneeze and then I thought I was done. There was a second one I didn't get. Oh well. Battler says, yeah.
その六軒島がわらわに黄金を魔法を返すという。
And now, Rokenjima is returning the gold to me.
六軒島が魔法から目覚める日が来たということだ。
The day has come for Rokenjima to awaken from my magic.
そうだな。
That's true.
最後のゲームと分かってはいたさ。
I knew that this would be the last game.
しかし、こういう形ではあっても、それを切り出されると意外に応えるものよ。
However, now that we've reached this point, even in a manner such as this, surprisingly painful.
お前って結構さっぱりしてそうに見えて、未練タラタラなタイプなのな。
You're the type of person who looks totally carefree, but who's actually full of lingering attachments and regrets.
残忍で必要なタイプは、大抵は寂しがり屋で未練がましいものよ。
The cruel and obstinate ones are usually the quickest to grow attached, and then to feel lonely.
そうだな。
That's right.
お前はそういうやつだもんな。
That's the kind of person you are.
わらわとそなたのためのゲームだった。
It was a game for you and me.
楽しかったぜ。
It was fun.
お前が6年の間に練りに練った愉快なゲームだった。
A great game you polished to perfection during those 6 years.
かつてわらわはそれを互いを苛む永遠の拷問と称したっけな。
I once likened it to eternal torture for the both of us.
永遠が永遠であると信じられるうちが一番幸せなのさ。
Eternity is happiest when you can still believe that it's eternal.
物事には全て終わりがある。
But all things must end.
そしてそれを自覚しなければならない。
And we have to be aware of that.
目を背けずにな。
So, we must not avert our eyes.
昇らぬ日はないように。
Just as the sun always rises,
沈まぬ日もねえってことさ。
there's no sun that doesn't set. Of course, Angie didn't have the slightest idea what her brother and the witch were talking about. However, even as young as she was, she could feel that the pair had spent an incredibly long time together, and that they understood each other so well that they might as well be a married couple. Then, Beato noticed her reaction.
レンジ、
Angie,
わらわたちはかつて互いのためにゲームを紡いだ。
at one point, the two of us wove games for each other.
しかし、それはもう終わった。
However, that time is now over.
このゲームは今、わらわたちのためでなく、そなたのために紡がれているのだ。
This game has been made, not for our sake, but for yours. They were speaking in riddles again. Grasping the key that hung by her chest, Angie looked at her brother's face.
今日という日の猫箱の中身を俺たちはエンジェに届けなくちゃならない。
We need to show you the contents of the cat box of this day.
お前に持たせたその鍵は猫箱を開くための鍵なんだよ。
That key I gave you is for opening it.
猫箱って？
What do you mean by cat box?
今日という日のことだ。
He means this day.
エンジェがあれほどたどり着きたいと願った今日に。
With the miracle of magic,
お兄ちゃんは魔法の奇跡でエンジェを招いた。
I brought you to the day you wanted to reach so much.
エンジェは最後の魔女として今日という日を語り継がなくちゃいけない。
You must continue telling the story of this day as the final witch.
それは私がここに残ってはいけないということ？
Does that mean that I mustn't remain here? Angie's tone was slightly tense. She understood what her brother meant, and it made her frown.
私は1986年のロッケン島へたどり着きたくてどれほど長い間苦しんだことか。
Just how long have I suffered, wishing that I could return to the Rokkenjima of 1986?
そして私はやっとたどり着いたの。
And now I've finally made it here.
なのにそれを追い出すの？
So why are you chasing me out?
お兄ちゃんは言ったわ。私が自分で決めていいって。
You said I could decide for myself.
そうだな。
That's right.
確かにそう言った。
I did say that.
帰らないわよ。私は。
I'm not leaving.
そしてまるで私を甘やかすかのようなこのおかしな作られた物語もやめて。
And please stop trying to spoil me with this strange made-up game.
私は今日という日の真実を知りたいの。
I want to know the truth of this day.
12年を経ても遡りても気難しい女であるな。
She's a moody girl, be it 12 years in the future or in the past.
うるさいわね。あんたには聞いてないわよ。
Shut up. I didn't ask you.
それにあんたこそ何よそのざまは。
She's like a hornet's nest. Every once in a while, it gets poked and she starts like getting all mad and combative. And what the hell do you think you're doing here?
黄金の魔女は復活の儀式のためにやってきたんじゃないの？
Didn't the Golden Witch come here to perform a resurrection ceremony?
雷鳴と共に島に現れ、これから13人もの人々を生贄に捧げようとしてるんでしょ？
Didn't you appear on the island with a crash of thunder and try to offer up 13 people as sacrifices?
そのあんたがなんでこんなにものんびり団らんしてるのよ。
Why are you acting so happy and casual?
わけがわかんない。
That doesn't make any sense.
わけがわからぬのはそなたの方であるぞ。
You're the one that doesn't make sense.
なんだそなたは。
What are you thinking?
わらわにそんなにも人殺しがしてほしいのか。
Do you want me to be a murderer?
あんたはそれを物語に記してメッセージボトルに封じて海に投じたわ。
You wrote it down in a tale, sealed it in a message bottle, and threw it into the sea.
後の世界にはそのうちの2本が伝わってる。
Two of those were discovered later on.
どちらもひどい連続殺人の物語じゃない。
Both of them were stories of cruel serial murders.
2本しか流れ着かなかったとは残念。
What a shame that only two of them made it to shore.
一番の力作だったランドが人目に触れなかったのは残念なことだ。
How sad that land, my greatest masterpiece, was never seen by human eyes.
前から聞きたかったんだが、あのメッセージボトルは何なんだ？
I've been wanting to ask this for a while, but what's up with those message bottles?
そなたとのゲームを練りながら、その過程で生み出した派生の物語のようなものよ。
As I was working out the details for my game against you, I began creating those tales along the way.
一つのゲーム版から異なる複数の物語を無限に紡ぎ出せることに気づき、面白くなってしまってな。
Once I realized that I could create endless different tales out of the same game board, it really started to get fun.
いつか俺に読ませようと書き溜めてたわけか。
So, you wrote them down, hoping that I'd read them someday? Precisely.
あまりの力作にそなたを待つのが惜しくなってな。
They were so good, I just couldn't bear to wait for your return.
孤島物の古典に習い、わらわもそれを瓶に封じて海に投じてみたのだ。
Inspired by Agatha Christie, I tried sealing them in bottles and throwing them into the ocean.
ミステリアスであろう。
Mysterious, don't you think?
バカにしないで。
Don't mock me.
あれはあんたの犯行計画書よ。
Those were your plans for the crime.
あなたは黄金のありかをちらつかせながら親族の不和を煽り、
You used the location of the hidden gold to fan up discontent between the family members.
残酷な連続殺人事件を目論むのよ。
As you planned your brutal serial murders.
やれやれ。
Sheesh.
1998年ではわらわはそういうことになっておるのか。
Is that what I've become in the year 1998?
なるほど。無理もないことであるな。
Well, I guess I can't blame them.
はあ？
Huh?
何を開き直ってんのよ。
What's with the sudden change of character?
私を拍子抜けさせようと目論んでるの？
Is this some scheme to make me let my guard down?
私は騙されないわよ、ベアトリーチェ。お兄ちゃん？
I'm not gonna be fooled by fooled. Let me try that again. Take two. I'm not gonna be fooled so easily, Beatrice. Oni-chan?
私に魔女はいると屈服させたいんでしょ？
You want to make me surrender and say that witches exist, don't you?
その手には乗るもんですか？
You think I'll fall for that?
私はお兄ちゃんの手なんか借りなくたって一人で真実にたどり着いてみせる。
I'll find the truth without your help.
ここがその真実であるというのにか？
Even though that truth is all around you right now?
そなたはかつてグレーテルと名乗ったが、どうやらミチルと名乗った方がふさわしいようだぞ。
You once called yourself Gretel, but it seems the name Meitel would be more fitting.
いい加減にして。
Enough! Angie tried to slap Beato's cheek. However, the difference between their heights was so great that Beato dodged before the hand could reach her.
バカバカしい。
Stupid.
バカバカしい。
Stupid.
私は認めないわよ。
I won't accept it.
こんな茶番が真実なんて絶対に認めないんだから。
I'll never acknowledge this farce as the truth. After Angie yelled those words, her eyes grew cloudy. They cleared up almost immediately. By that time, she had already gone back to her 6-year-old self.
そうだな、エンジェ。
You're right, Angie.
それがわらわが残した罪であり、最後の物語を用意する理由なのだ。
This is the sin I left behind, and the reason for this final tale's existence. As Angie stared blankly, uncomprehending, Beato gently patted her head.
そうとも。
Indeed.
この物語は茶番である。
This tale is a farce.
真実であろうはずもない。
Of course it isn't the truth.
しかしそれでも。
However,
いや、そうしてでも。
there is something that he feels he must tell you.
そなたにはどうしても伝えたいことがあるのだ。
Something he's so determined to convey that he went to such lengths.
ベアト。
Beato.
それはもう俺が伝えてる。
I'm already showing her.
それ以上無理強いしたくない。
I don't want to force it on her.
そうか。
I see.
お兄ちゃんたちが何の話をしているのかわかんない。
I don't understand what you're saying.
エンジェもう眠いよ。
I'm sleepy.
そうだな。
True.
俺たちはおいとました方が良さそうだ。
We should probably go take a nap.
金蔵よ。
Kinzo,
わらわはまだここにいなければならぬのか？
must I remain here longer?
おすまぬ。そなたはもう少しここにおれ。
My apologies, but I must ask you to stay for just a bit.
続けるぞ、クラウス。
Moving on, Kraus.
それでだが、福音の家への援助については、クラウスが後宮家当主の義務としてこれを継続し、
The continued support of the Fukuin house should be viewed as your responsibility as the Ushimiya family head.
やれやれ。
What a pain.
すまんな、バトラ。
Forgive me, Battler.
わらわは送ってやれぬようだ。
It seems I cannot go with you.
源氏よ。
Genji,
この二人をゲストハウスまで送ってやってくれぬか？
would you mind taking these two to the guest house?
かしこまりました。
As you wish.
バトラ様、エンジェ様、ご案内いたします。
Battler-sama, Anji-sama, please follow me.
ありがとう。
Thanks.
じゃあな、ベアト。
See you later.
後で。
Bieto.
うん。
Of course.
そなたとは語りたいことが山ほどだ。
I have a mountain of things I wish to discuss with you.
それに、今夜は水入らずで過ごしたいぞ。
And I'd like to have some time alone tonight.
たまには夫婦らしいこともせぬとな。
We must act the part of a married couple every now and then.
なんだよ、夫婦らしいことって。
What do you mean, act the part of a married couple? Dork. Because Angie had gotten so bored, she had grown very sleepy. It'd probably be best for her to take a quick nap. Battler walked through the windy rose garden, pulling her by the hand. When he questioned their guide, Genji, he learned that the old servant had known beforehand of Kinzo's desire to return the gold to Bieto, and settle the inheritance problem early.
親方様は人生を終えるという最後の仕事の準備をお始めになったということでございます。
The master decided to start preparations early for his final task in this world, the ending of his life.
自分が死んだ後のことなんて人は普通考えないぜ。
Most people don't think much about what happens after they die.
やっぱじい様はスケールが一つ違うぜ。
Guess grandfather just lives on a whole different scale.
今日は後ろ宮家が黄金の魔女の庇護から飛び立つ新しい飛翔の日なのでございます。
Today marks the start of a new fight, and the Ishimiya family will depart from the Golden Witch's patronage.
確かに。
That's true.
かっこいい言い方だな。
That's a pretty cool way to say it. Apparently, a grand Halloween party was to be held tonight, and Goda and the others have been ordered to start getting ready for it. However, it wouldn't just be a party. It would be a ceremony to mark the return of Beatrice's gold. At the start of dinner, Grandfather would make the announcement, and the 3 generations of Beatrices would be thanked for their gift to the family with a round of applause. Apparently, this was what they had planned.
親父たちにはまだそれは秘密なんすか？
Are we still keeping this secret from Dad and the others?
一応は秘密にしております。
Technically, it is a secret.
ただ、親方様のお考えは唐突に今日思いついたものではありません。
However, the master did not suddenly begin thinking in this way today.
もう何年も前から今日という日について考えを重ねられ、時にご兄弟の皆様に相談もされておりました。
He has considered this day many times over many years, and has even discussed certain matters with his children.
おそらく今宵の発表に驚かれる方はいないでしょう。
I doubt that any will be surprised to hear this night's announcement.
うちのクソ親父。
Oh, is that it? Apparently, my old bastard's been running all over the place, trying to get money for his company.
どうやら会社のことで金の工面が大変そうだし。
Guess he'll be dancing around when he hears that grandfather's giving him part of his inheritance early.
じい様からのちょいと早い遺産のプレゼントに舞い上がっちまうかな。
A nice present for him.
むしろ大きな責任に奮い立たれるでしょう。
I rather think the great responsibility is what will spur him on.
ルドルフ様は島を出られ、大成し見事な成功を収められました。
Ever since Rudolph Sama left the island, he has succeeded splendidly.
しかしそれは親方様の財産によって支えられたものです。
However, his success so far has been supported by the master's wealth.
それが唐突に遺産をドンと出され、これからはお前の力だけで頑張るのだぞとなるわけか。
And now that he's suddenly getting his inheritance money, he'll have to keep going by his own strength alone in the future.
かえってプレッシャーがあるかもな。
That's some nice pressure for him.
ご兄弟の皆様は親方様というあまりに偉大すぎる父親にもう何十年も苦しんできました。
Siblings must have suffered for decades because of their father's excess of success and ability.
偉大すぎる親はただ存在するだけで子には重しになるものなのです。
Simply having a parent who is too successful can be a great burden to a child.
それが今夜。
And tonight,
本当の意味で一人前になって巣立つってわけだ。
they'll be leaving the nest, truly becoming adults for the first time.
親方様は今宵を黄金の返還式とお呼びになるようです。
It seems the master plans to call this night a gold returning ceremony.
ですが最初は生前葬と呼ぼうと考えておいででした。
However, he originally intended to call it a living funeral.
生前の葬式じゃなんだか落ち込んじまう。
Sounds pretty depressing, having a funeral while you're still alive.
新しい出発の日、巣立ちの日って方が確かに後宮家にはぴったりだぜ。
I'll admit that calling it a day to start a new journey and leave the nest fits the Ushimiya family much better.
兄ちゃん、眠い。
Oni-chan, I'm sleepy.
ほら、もうゲストハウスに着くよ。
Look, we're almost to the guest house.
お母さんの部屋へ行くか。
Do you want to go to mom's room?
それともいとこ部屋に？
Or to the cousin room?
ここでもいい。
I don't care.
晩ご飯まで寝てる。
I'll sleep until dinner. Down she goes. Angie, still holding her brother's hand, crouched down and looked as though she was about to fall asleep. Battle lifted her up and carried her. As she felt the warmth and safety of her brother's back, Angie drifted off into sleep. What happened that day? Just what on earth happened on October 4th and 5th, 1986? Because of the massive size of the Rokenjima explosion accident, the time of the explosion was known almost exactly, down to the minute. That time was October 5th, midnight, 12 o'clock, midnight. The sheer improbability of that round number proved that the accident had been produced by artificial means. Later on, the following statements were collected from individuals who knew Ishimio Kinzo when he was alive. During his lifetime, Ishimio Kinzo built a clock rigged to blow up the island at exactly 12 o'clock midnight. This clock was apparently inside a secret study. When he felt mentally cornered and wanted to think up a brilliant plan, he would activate that device and use the tension of the approaching midnight to bring some flash of inspiration to him. That was talked about before, and I don't think I said it enough. Fucking insane. What a freak. Only a freak would do that. Anyway, while Ishimio Kinzo still lived, this was only thought of as a tall tale about this eccentric man. But the fact that the Rokujima explosion accident occurred at exactly 12 o'clock midnight supported the story.
クレイジーな話だな。
Sounds crazy.
その狂気の狭間に魔法めいた力を求めたに違いありません。
He must have hoped to gain some sort of mystical power from those short periods of madness.
精神的な瞬発力とでも言えば、そう眉唾な話でもないでしょう。
If we call this a source of high output mental power, the story isn't that difficult to swallow. Professor Itsuki spoke passionately. Witch hunters, enthusiasts who treat the mad fantasies surrounding Rokujima as their plaything. Angie had no reason to love these people, who embellished the deaths of her family just for the fun of it. How ironic it was to Angie, who wanted to know what happened that day, that such people knew more about that island than anyone else.
その仕掛けを使えば、島を跡形なく吹き飛ばすことができる。
If someone used that device, the island would be blown away without a trace.
後には何も残らない。
there'd be nothing left.
あそこで何があったとしてもなかったことにできる。
No matter what had happened there, they could erase it.
後宮エバ氏が何がしかの陰謀の首謀者であるとする説は早くから囁かれてきました。
Theories that Ishinomiya Eva was the ringleader of some conspiracy sprang up very early on.
しかし、あれだけの大爆発をいかにして起こしたのかが説明できずにいました。
However, no one was able to explain how she set off such a massive explosion.
その仕掛け時計によりそれが可能であったことが証明された。
And the rigged clock proves that such a thing was possible?
さようです。
Correct.
後宮エバ氏は24時に爆発すること、そしてその爆発半径について十分に理解した上でクワドリアンに避難していたと考えられます。
We can theorize that Ishinomiya Eva, fully aware of the timing and expected radius of the explosion, took refuge in Kuwadorian. Refuge.
財産を独り占めにするために
To get all the family wealth to herself.
みんなを殺して爆発によってその痕跡を消した。
She killed everyone and used the explosion to remove all evidence.
そう考えると六軒島のミステリーは最も筋が通ります。
That idea provides the most logical explanation for the Rokkenjima mystery.
エバ氏があの日あの島で何があったのか語ろうとしないことにも合点がいくわけです。
It also conforms with the fact that Eva never spoke to anyone about the events of that day. Where was that rigged clock, and how did Eva find it? Several forgeries have speculated on this matter. There's no need for me to waste time thinking about it. Eva activated the clock device, hitting Kuwadorian to escape the blast, and was therefore the only one to survive. That was everything, the answer, which eloquently told the whole story. When Eva first adopted me, our relationship wasn't that bad at all. I asked her several times, what happened that day? Every single time she answered, it was to say that she didn't remember. But, well, she must have been flustered at the time. The very first time I asked, she answered like this. I can't tell you about it. It was a slip of the tongue. She knew what had happened that day, and she left this world without telling even a bit of the truth. She sealed the truth in a cat box, and left this world, taking the key with her. There could be only one answer. She was behind everything. Smiling with the gun. She got to keep all of the family wealth to herself and became super rich. And afterward, she lamented the fact that her beloved son would never inherit any of what she had created. And she cursed me. Just remembering that old bitch makes me want to vomit. What happened that day? That's what I want to know. It's my only goal. The one reason I'm still alive. However, later on, I had to come to grips with the fact that my goal was an abstract one. After all, though I don't know what happened that day, if it's a question of who did the crime, that's already clear. Ishinomiya Eva. She's the culprit. That has never changed since the beginning. That's right. I'm not trying to find out what happened that day. I'm trying to find out what Ishinomiya Eva did that day. If I can reveal that, then I can expose Eva's evil, even though she's already dead. That is my true goal. The police also suspected that the accident might be a crime, and they did investigate. However, no matter how much they inspected the crater that had once been Rokkenjima, they didn't find anything at all. The public and the witch hunters cornered Eva with several bits of circumstantial evidence, but not a single bit of physical evidence was found. Though Eva was only the merest fraction of a shade away from guilty, they were unable to expose her crime. My goal isn't anything as vague as learning what happened that day. It's to expose the crime Ishinomiya Eva committed that day, and to have my revenge. I haven't been able to expose Ishinomiya Eva's crime, so people are acting as though the events on the island were all done by some bizarre golden witch. Defeating the golden witch means exposing Ishinomiya Eva's sin. I won't forgive Ishinomiya Eva. I'll certainly hate her and take revenge for my family. That is Ishinomiya Anji's one and only reason for living. Oh, the tonal shift! The tonal shift startled me. Oh!
それだけ嫌われりゃ会長もあの世で笑いが止まらねえでしょうぜ。
If she knew you hated her that much, the president would probably be rolling around laughing in the next world.
うるさいわね。
Shut up.
あのクソババアの罪を暴くのよ。
I'll expose that old bitch's crime.
すべて吹き飛ばして完全犯罪なんて。
I won't accept that it was a perfect crime.
絶対に。
Oh. I won't accept that it was a perfect crime, with all traces blown away. I'll never do that.
つまりお嬢の旅は家族のための復讐の旅ってわけだ。
In other words, this journey of yours is a journey to take revenge for your family.
悪い？
Got a problem with that?
まさか。
You must be joking.
生きる目的があるの大いに結構ですぜ。
It's great to know that you have a purpose in life.
それ切ってくれる？
Could you turn that off?
おや？
Oh?
M ザッキーはお嫌いで？
You don't like M. Zaki? Please, turn that racket off! Moxa turned the radio off. The dull sound of the engine became the BGM, the background music that filled the car.
おかしい？
Is it really so strange?
弔い合戦なんて。
Fighting for revenge?
別に。
Not really.
それを生きる目的にしてる連中に戦地じゃよく会いましたから。
Out on the front, I met people who live for that reason over and over.
あんた、傭兵で戦場に行ったことあるのよね。
You've been on battlefields many times as a mercenary, right?
まあ、ほどほどには。
Well, I've seen a few.
家族の仇を取るために戦っている人って
So, are people who fight to take revenge for their families
強い？
strong?
そりゃ強いですぜ。
No doubt about it.
家族の仇を取るために体に爆弾を巻きつけて自爆するやつだっている。
Some people even strap bombs to themselves and commit suicide to take revenge for their families.
人は仇討ちのために死ねる生き物ですぜ。
Humans are more than capable of dying for revengeance.
そうね。
That's right.
私も死ねるわ。
I could do it.
少年兵ってやつをご存知で？
Have you heard of child soldiers?
子供の兵隊？
You mean kids who fight like soldiers?
そうです。
That's it.
親を亡くした身寄りのない子供たちが武装勢力に拾われて兵士になるんです。
Kids who have lost their parents and have nowhere to go sometimes get picked up by groups of armed insurgents and become soldiers.
パンと銃を与えられ、復讐の方法を教えられる。
They get a gun thrust in their hands and they're taught how to take revenge.
所詮は子供、使い捨てですがね。
But in the end, children are expendable.
引き金さえ引けりゃ、戦場じゃ誰だって兵士になれる。
Anyone could be a soldier in a battlefield if they could pull a trigger.
私がそれだって言いたいの？
Are you trying to say that I'm like that?
復讐は生きる目的になります。
Revenge could be a reason for living.
そして兵士になれるほどの力も与えます。
It can also give you the strength to become a soldier.
親の亡骸にすがって泣くことしかできなかった少女が一夜にして兵士に生まれ変われるほどの奇跡を見せてくれる。
Like a miracle, it could turn a girl who could do nothing but sob over her parents' corpses into a soldier. Almost overnight.
復讐ってやつほどパワーを与えてくれるものはありませんぜ。
Nothing gives you more power than revenge.
そうでしょうね。
I guess so.
それがまさに私だわ。
And that's what I'm like.
少年兵問題ってのをご存知で？
Do you know about the child soldier problem?
知らないわ。
No.
銃を与えられ復讐の仕方を習った少年兵はそれを生きる目的とします。
Child soldiers who are given guns and taught how to take revenge make that their reason for living.
いや、少し違う。
Well, that's not exactly right.
それを銃を撃つ理由にします。
It becomes a reason for firing their guns.
しかし復讐ってのは終わりがない。
But revenge is something that never ends.
いつしか銃を撃つのに理由がなくなってくるんです。
At some point, they no longer have any reason to keep shooting.
どういう意味？
What do you mean?
復讐のために銃を撃っていた。
They once shot for revenge.
それがやがて理由もなく銃を撃つようになるんです。
But eventually, they keep on shooting for no reason at all.
復讐を忘れてしまうということ？
You mean they forget about taking revenge?
できもしない復讐にやがて疲れ果て、その目的を忘れちまうんです。
When revenge is impossible, they eventually get tired of it, forget their original goals.
そして手元には銃しかな
When that happens, they have nothing except their guns.
い。やがて飯を食うために銃を撃つようになる。
Eventually, they'll keep shooting just so they can eat.
復讐のために銃を取った少年兵は
You're saying that child soldiers who start using guns for revenge
やがて野党か何かになり果てるってこと？
end up as bandits or something?
何しろ学校にも通わず職も学ばせてもらわなかった連中です。
After all, they've never even gone to school and haven't even been taught any useful skills as far as employment goes. They only learned how to shoot guns. Kids with guns. Bam, bam. Kids with guns. Bam, bam. Take a go, bam, bam, bam. That puppy long. Bam, bam, bam. And they were only ever praised when they killed the enemy.
やがて自分の生きる目的は復讐のためでなく、その手段のためだけになり果てていく。
Eventually, your reason for living stops being revenge and becomes a means you once used to take revenge.
気の毒なことです。
It's sad, really.
私もやがては復讐に疲れ果てて
Are you saying that I'll eventually get tired of revenge and...
私の場合だと何だってのよ。
would it... what would it be in my case?
真実を暴くことに疲れ果て
You'll get tired of exposing the truth.
お嬢はやがて後ろ宮エヴァを憎むだけの人生になり果てていく。
You'll eventually become a person who could do nothing but hate Ishimiya Eva.
すでにそうだけど何か？
Well, that's true already. Got a problem with it? She's like, that's already the case. Haha.
そういえばそうでしたっけ?
Come to think of it, that's right. I'm not sure what Amakusa is trying to say. Probably something annoying. So I'm not interested.
復讐なんてくだらないことだ。
Revenge is pointless.
そう言いたいんでしょ?
Is that what you're trying to say?
お嬢の人生はまだまだ長い。
You still have a long life ahead of you, lady.
何だってできる若さがある。
With your youth, you could do anything.
その貴重な若さを費やすには、ちょいとこの旅はもったいねえんじゃねえかなと思いましてね。
I get the feeling that this journey might be a waste of that precious youth.
余計なお世話よ。
It's none of your business.
私ね、ほら、飛び降りたでしょ?
I've already jumped once, remember?
ビルから。
Off that huge skyscraper?
せっかく九死に一生を得たってのに。
And you only barely made it out of that alive.
あの時ね。
Back then,
私は死んだのよ。
I died.
だから、私はもう亡霊ってわけ。
So, I'm already a ghost.
家族の仇を討つために、あの日の真実を暴くことだけを目的として。
What a metal thing to say. And my only purpose is to expose the truth of that day. Take revenge on my family's to take revenge on my family's enemy.
やれやれ。
Sheesh.
お嬢は大した鉄の意志をお持ちだ。
That's an iron will you've got there, lady.
あんたみたいな軽薄な男に、私の気持ちなんてわからないわよ。
There's no way a flippant man like you could understand how I feel. After that, Moxa was forced to shut his mouth. He shrugged, but Angie didn't see. Even so, Moxa spoke once more.
お嬢とこの旅を始めた一番最初の日。
On the first day we started this journey,
お嬢は言いました。
you said something.
あの日、あの島で何があったか知りたいと。
You said you wanted to know what happened on that island that day.
今だってそうよ。
It's the same now.
何か変わった?
What's changed?
今はこう言ってます。
Now? You're saying that you want to know what happened on that island that day.
後ろ宮エヴァの罪を暴くため、あの日、あの島で何があったか知りたいと。
So you can expose Yushiromi Eva's crime.
全く同じじゃない。
And isn't that exactly the same?
まあそうですが。
Well, that's true, but...
私、 眠いからもう寝るわ。
I'm tired, so I'll sleep now.
少し黙っててくれる？
Would you mind staying quiet for a bit?
着いたら教えて。
Tell me when we get there.
了解です。
Roger that. I wasn't particularly tired, really. I just said that because I didn't like talking about this.
ならないでくださいよ。
Don't become one.
少年兵には。
A child soldier. Angie, who had decided to feign sleep, ignored him. But Amakusa kept talking. He wanted to make sure she heard at least this much.
お嬢の旅は最初、真実を知る旅でした。
You started on a journey to learn the truth.
それがだんだん復讐の旅になっている。
It's becoming more and more a journey of revenge.
真実を暴くことで復讐する旅だ。
A journey to have revenge by exposing the truth.
しかしお嬢も分かってる通り、六軒島にはもう何も残ってやしません。
But, as you know, there's nothing left on Rokenjima.
何の跡形も残ってやしない。
There aren't even any traces left.
真実を暴くことは並大抵のことじゃないかもしれませんぜ。
Exposing the truth might not be a picnic. I know what Amakusa is trying to say. Police searched the scene so thoroughly just after the crime, and even they weren't able to find any physical evidence proving that Ishinomiya Eva was the culprit. And a full 12 years have passed since then. If the truth could be discovered by a girl like me, waving wads of cash around to pick up a bit of info from those who were somehow related to the incident, then someone would have exposed the truth long ago. I might not be able to reach the truth. If so, then my first desire, my desire to expose the truth, will probably fade away. After that, only my hatred for Eva will remain. Just like those child soldiers, who forget their original purpose and live just to shoot. I'll forget my original purpose and live just to hate. I'll do nothing but despise Ishinomiya Eva, but my goal, exposing the truth for revenge, will be gone. So hating Ishinomiya Eva will become my whole life. A certified hater of Eva. Is there any difference between shooting for revenge and shooting to live? When you pull the trigger, someone dies either way. And what about my case? Is there any difference between hating Eva as I expose the truth and hating Eva after I've given up? There's no difference. In the end, whether I find the truth or not, I'll just keep on cursing Eva over and over until I die. What a crappy life. But now, that's all I have left. Ishinomiya Eva stole my family, so I'll take revenge. By exposing her crimes and showing the world. My consciousness was slowly drifting away into sleep. Why is Oni-chan showing me such a bizarre Rokenjima? Is this supposed to be the truth? Enough with this farce. Why is even Oni-chan trying to hide the truth from me? I'm trying to find it so that I can avenge him and the others. Or would Oni-chan say the same thing as Amakusa? That revenge is meaningless, so I should stop. Is that why he's speaking in riddles, trying to make everything more confusing? It's none of his business. I'm not just trying to take revenge for their sakes. Doing it for my sake too. After all, that's the only reason I'm still alive. Taking revenge is my reason to live. I don't have a clue what Oni-chan is thinking. What is that boy thinking? What is that? What is he thinking? We're gonna end it there tonight. I'm calling it. I'm calling it a night. I would say a good start. Start in on episode 8. And you should keep living like that. As like she's a child soldier. You know what? I'm all for it. I'm all for a good blind revenge way to live your life. Why not? Why not? Get revenge. Use money, get revenge. No, honestly, you know, I talked, not shit necessarily, but talked about how like I kind of was disappointed sometimes with the points in the story that Angie got relegated to. But I do like fiery, spicy Angie, whether it be her young adult form or 6-year-old child who starts cursing at Battler. Either of those forms, I'll take Angie if she's ready to fight. Become full hater. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Streams of Umineko next week, regular times, Tuesday and Saturday night, most likely happening. As I said at the top of the stream, definitely let me know. Sound off. I like I said, hate to normally say, or I normally don't say this because I hate saying stuff like this, but if you want to leave a comment, especially in the VOD, so I can check and see it, that'd make it easier for me personally. Sound off. Let me know your opinion on the whole Confessions of a Golden Witch manga only chapter that I could potentially read on stream after we finish episode 8 here. I'm curious. I'm gathering opinions on if that's worth reading, if you absolutely detest it, if you're in your opinion it shouldn't be read, and like I said, anything else, videos, reading wise, games wise, I guess. Like I said, the only other big example I can think of is the fighting game Golden Fantasia. Is that worth checking out? Should I? Do I need to dust off my fighting game skills? Let me know. I'll be gathering. We have all of episode 8 to basically figure out and gather responses here, because like I said, I'm genuinely curious. I'm genuinely curious what is worth checking out, what is worth avoiding time-wise. And I will sift through all of that, because I need good, strong, solid opinions. State an opinion, back it up, and then I'll read it. So again, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out for your during your Saturday night. If you're watching live, just slurred through that. If you're watching this Saturday night, if you're watching the VOD, whatever day you're watching, hope you're enjoying. We got one more episode to go, and yeah, I will, like I said, Tuesday, Saturday next week, more Umineko streams, other things, other days, and until another stream, have a nice rest of your night. Bye.